Ying for. Due to how close the impending date for the alchemist convention was, right around the corner actually, the number of visitors has skyrocketed around the medicine sect as a result. Therefore, out of consideration for her son's safety, Bai Yin specifically tasked the baby tiger Little Rice to stay permanently close to the boy's side at all times. This was for Bai Xiaqin's safety, especially after what happened with the snake incident. On the contrary though, Ditsong's been so absent from their room that Bai Yin didn't even know what the man's been up to during the past few days. If the person doesn't want to say, then she's not going to ask. That left the woman either thinking about her life or simply continuing on with the path of cultivation. Pity though. Aside from that moment when the contract was made between them both, the mysterious scenes in her head had never once again surfaced like she wanted it to. Mother. Inside a quiet room of the inn, Bai Yin was currently lazing around by enjoying an afternoon tea when the door was pushed open and in came an excited steam bun, jumping right into those slender arms. Mother, I am back. What's wrong? Did you not enjoy your fun outside to come back this early? Showing a stunning smile, Bai Yin gently caresses that hair in a soothing motion. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. The outside is too lively. Because of the alchemy convention, the people are proactively hosting their own little gatherings everywhere. But I still think Mother's skill is better than theirs if you ask me. Are they now? She gives her son a lovely peck on the cheek over that compliment, causing the boy to burst into a giggling fit at the tickling sensation. Mother is the best. No one can compare with Mother. Nodding in earnest like it's the absolute truth, the little fella's appearance glowed with pride over his own words. Ahumph! Suddenly, a light cough from the doorway had broke their warm and intimate scene, wrinkling that brow. Son, did you not remember my teachings? When entering and leave, one must always close the door. Remember this, okay? First giving the uninvited guest at the door a disgruntled glance, then back at his own mother, he nods heavily. I understand, Mother. I will remember this for sure next time. I don't want some bad people to get inside our home to harm you. Lady, we meet again. Is this your son? He looks so cute. Humph, so what if he's cute? Nothing more than a little runt who doesn't know his manners. In any case, there's no way Yi Ying would say what's truly in her heart, not while in front of the competition anyways. Still smiling like she's without harm, the girl walks into the room without an invitation. Today, I have something to discuss with you. Sipping the tea in her hand, Bai Yin casually asks without bothering to give the person a look. I heard you are Bai Zhangping's daughter. Startled at first over the question, Yi Ying quickly composes herself, after realizing the information must have come from her follower Yi Zhang. Bai Zhangping obviously didn't want to take her as a goddaughter, but in times like this, there's no way she could diminish her own prestige and allow the foe to step above herself. Therefore, she only needed a moment to muse over the options at her disposal before nodding in confirmation. My godfather is actually my distant uncle. Due to how doting he is of me, it's decided that I would become his goddaughter right after the alchemy convention. Regarding this piece of news, not many should know about it yet. I see. Bai Zhangping is the distant uncle of Yi Ying? In other words, the grandmother of this girl is the sister of the late wife of the current old lord. You said you came to me with something to discuss. What is it? Bai Yan's not a nosy person, but she was quite interested in why someone like Yi Ying would want to meet herself. The man I saw at the restaurant the other day, is he your husband? Furrowing her brow, the girl asks. Picked up a teenager 5. She could see there's an individual sprawled along the grasses there. But more than the unconscious teen, she's more attracted to the pink piglet that's currently standing guard beside the person. The little fellow was eyeing her with alarmed eyes like she's a danger to its owner. Oink! The pink piggy immediately went on the defensive when Bai Yin drew closer. Step aside. Indifferent in her voice, she eyes the little fellow with a pressuring gaze, which instantly showed off her majestic aura. Sure enough, the piggy promptly took a step backwards at the intimidation, thus allowing the woman to examine his owner. The teenager's skin was fair, almost pale even, but that baby face only added to this charm, and turning him into a doll. Towards the boy's lolicon appearance, Bai Yin didn't hate it, and even found a strange attachment to it, like she wants to get closer to the lad. As a result of this unknown movement in her heart, she could no longer leave him be. Mother, is he still alive? Tugging at her mother's hand, Bai Xiachen asks with a sense of hope in those big blue eyes. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Slightly nodding. He seems to have suffered a heavy blow to the head, and then succumbed to heavy exhaustion after escaping to this place. That said, Bai Yin then brought out a bottle of medicine from her sleeve to feed the boy. Now that the pink piggy was sure this unknown woman intends to help, the hostility it showed just moments ago quickly dissipated. Turning around with its hopeful eyes, the little thing waits with anticipation in its face over his owner's welfare. And sure enough, it didn't take long for the lad's eyelashes to start fluttering, before finally opening it up entirely. Oink, making a few sobbing cries, the little piggy wasted no time to rush up to the lad's face, rubbing it and smothering it with tears. I'm sorry, piggy. I made you worry. Showing the purest smile like the elves of legend, this child's voice sounded almost melodic. Were you the one who saved me? Smiling as well. It's nothing much. My name is Emily Shang. Bai Yan's my name. Blinking like a clueless dote, she too reported her name out of reflex. Then can I call you Yin Yan? There's an expected light in the boy's iris, like he knows the woman wouldn't deny him this request. Without surprise, Bai Yin nodded in sequence like a puppet being stringed along. However, she didn't find anything wrong with this, and even found it right. Your injury is now healed, so I'll be leaving first. I still have things to attend to. But it would appear it wasn't meant to be. Only a few steps up the road with her son, and she was forced to turn around at the tailing boy. Do you have something else you need? I have nowhere to go. I want to follow you, can I? Holding the pink piggy in his arms, he puts on the most pitiful look, just like how Bai Xiachen normally does it. I still have a long way to go, so why don't you go home first? Maybe your loved ones are already looking for you. After a long sigh, Bai Yin nevertheless shakes her head in refusal. With his head hanging, the teen appears lost now. I can't remember them. I only remember I am called Emily Xing. As for everything else, I can't remember them. You must get justice for me too. Bai Yan's words may be blunt and direct, however. It also pointed out the impudent girl's real intent with no wiggle room for excuses. It's true my meaning is like that. But why is it that I've been turned into a heinous, which coming out of this woman's mouth? Ying furrows that brow like she's perplexed by the situation. Am I not doing this for the sake of us both? The man would immediately become extraordinary after marriage, and this woman would also transform from a chicken into a peacock by marrying my brother. And the payment? Merely a title of being a wretched wife who cheated behind her husband's back. What's wrong with that? Compared to the benefits, anyone would know what to choose in this case. Lady Yu, the girl's expression darkened somewhat. She wanted to say more after that momentary silence, but it appears the opposition was done listening. Ying, your plan is very good indeed. The benefits are all yours and the bad are dumped onto another. However, unfortunately for you, I am not a person who would be taken advantage of. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Oh, is that your opinion? Bai Yan wanted to laugh, but held it in to form a smirk instead. As it so happens, he actually needs a favor at this very moment. It's not difficult at all for you, in fact. All it requires of you is to scram out of here. Would you be willing to oblige? From green to gleaming red, Yi Ying's facade finally crumbles to reveal her true menacing nature. Don't push your luck. Not going to be trampled while on her own turf. Bai Yin has gotten up from her chair, slowly strolling over to the girl in question. The woman's aura increased exponentially until it's almost oppressive. I have already been very kind to you out of consideration for Bai Zhangping's sake. Otherwise, you wouldn't have even made it one step into my room. In addition, I have something else to tell you. Halting in her footstep, she sneers at the impudent girl who's glaring fire. Firstly, I am not stupid enough to sacrifice myself for someone whom I believe is not worthy of me. Why should I as a woman sacrifice myself for the sake of a man, just because the world deems it worthy? Secondly, I will not relinquish my man to another if I have chosen him, nor would I believe he would betray me for another. Thirdly, the cup just now is used by my little pet to drink water. But my pet is too clean, and your breath is too dirty. That's why I smashed it. You are too polluted to taint his stuff. In order to prove Bai Yan's claim, Little Rice immediately followed up with a meow sound of his own to show off the disgusted opinion he had of the girl in green. You impudent wench. No matter how good of a facade she has, no matter how good of a control freak she was, there's no way Yi Ying could remain unfazed after that insult. Her voice was downright screaming like a woman yelling out at the market. Okay, I am waiting. Smirking with ridicule at the ignorant fool, Bai Yan lazily leans against the room pillar next to herself like she didn't have a care in the world. A blatant act of dismissing someone, which clearly worked based on how receptively livid Yi Ying was. Humph. Huffing a heavy grunt, it took a good minute for the girl in green to recompose herself. Since you've said it to such a degree, then I won't continue to linger in your presence. But remember this, I will definitely make you regret today's decision. In addition, your man, he will definitely become mine. That said, she promptly stomps away without looking back. Hold on. Unconsciously, a smug grin escapes the girl upon hearing the voice from behind. What, regret it? Unfortunately for the impudent fool that's known as Yi Ying, her words didn't even have a chance to finish before a flying kick of a foot landed right smack into her chest, sending that body flying out across the air like a rice sack. Until the very last second, the girl still couldn't believe what she was experiencing. The only thing she could see was Bai Yan's peerless contour slowly shrinking from view, and the disbelieving fact that she's been assaulted. You must get justice for me. 3. How could she dare? This is in the medicine sect. How can that woman do this to me? It took a long time before Yi Ying's flying self could fall back to the ground. Her trajectory, thankfully a crowd of people who shielded the impact. Otherwise who knows what sort of bones she would have broke at the fall. Inside the inn, Bai Yan slammed the door behind herself, revealing the refreshed look representing her own mood that release. Oh, I haven't kicked someone like that in such a long time. This feels great. Mother, how come you didn't let me speak out just now? All aggrieved in his sweet little look, Bai Xiachen protests to his mother. Only mother got to have the fun, now what about me? Chuckling at the flushed appearance of her own son, Bai Yan promptly kissed down at those cheeks in absolute delight, her arms rubbing that head like she's held the cuddliest object in the world. Because my precious baby is too clean. If you touch someone so filthy, then it would only pollute you as well. Giving himself a minute to contemplate that answer, Bai Xiachen then nodded in earnest. Mother is right. In the future, mother shouldn't get involved with that person either. Just let batty father handle the mess when he comes back. Okay, sweetie, we will have your batty father handle it next time. Perhaps it's due to the good mood she was in. Bai Yan didn't even realize that she's now included Deed Song into the perimeter of the word family. Now instead of 3 members, it's 4. Should I tell batty father this news? That mother just admitted he is her man? Nestled in that warm, wonderfully scented body, Bai Xiachen flickered with the light of success in his eyes. If batty father knows, then I'm sure he would be ecstatic. Back outside the street, the crowds were currently swarming around the location where Yi Ying landed. Their discussions revolved around how confused the girl appeared after smacking down from the sky. Visit my site on Translation. If you wish to read ahead of public releases. It took a while for the shameless girl to return home from her shameless venture. But when Yi Ying finally did so, another figure had blocked her path. Oh, my granddaughter. What happened to you? How come you are looking like this? The other person exclaims, horrified by the girl's tattered look. Grandma, flushed red from anger and embarrassment. Do you think that I am not shameful enough yet? Are you trying to attract even more people to see my misery? This. Old Madam Yi anxiously rubs her crutch, unsure what to do. I didn't mean to. I was just surprised by your appearance. Tell Grandma, who did this to you? Pursing that lip. I've set my eyes on a man and was beaten by his wife. The news was too enormous that it rang thunderously inside the old grandma's head. For a minute, old Madam Yi didn't even know what to say due to how dumbfounded she became. My granddaughter is so good. How could she fancy another woman's husband? Grandma, don't take it in the wrong way. The man is very outstanding. Hurrying to pull the old granny aside to one corner, a light of hatred filled those pupils as she whispered lies to the receiver. And it's not like he doesn't have feelings for me. My man is just too responsible. He's not willing to abandon his wife and child. And his wife, that woman is too brutish, that's why she beat me. I couldn't defend myself because I'm also partly at fault. But Grandma, you must go to Granduncle and have him get justice for me. If Uncle isn't willing to accept me as his daughter, then at least have them help me with my marriage. A flicker of cunningness erupts from the girl's iris. If the sect leader himself gets involved, then this will be set in stone. There's no way those two would dare disobey someone so powerful. Showing a tinge of guilt, the old granny grew hesitant. That man is too rigid. I don't think he would agree to this. No, biting her lip. Grandma, the sect leader is your own brother-in-law. How can you and him not be on my side? What's more, that woman is nothing but a sultry hag who doesn't deserve such a fine man. You must get justice for me for. Old Madame Yi steals her heart. Okay, I will go to him. Even if I have to use that bitch Li Jing's sister name again, I will have him agree to our demands. In this world, how can one not help relative over outsiders? Brother-in-law isn't befuddled to such a degree. Unfortunately for her though, it appears Bai Changfeng was fully intent on avoiding this dreaded shrew at all costs. No matter what she did or what she tried, the guards refuses to waver. Back inside the study, the old lord of the medicine sect was currently painfully rubbing his temple as he sighed helplessly. These people really are endless. Since you already said you won't take Ying as your daughter, then it should have been the end of it. Why can't they understand when to back off? Son, how are things going with your investigation? And when is she coming? Bai Changfeng's voice sounded tense, his eyes whimpering with concern. Naturally, Bai Zhangping would know who his old man was referring to. The messenger I sent returned with word that the girl is currently away from home. As to whether or not she is my sister's daughter, I can say with almost certainty now. From my investigation, that daughter of the Lan house did in fact know someone by the name of Bai Ning years ago. Just that her family doesn't know if it's one and the same. Inhaling deeply, he continues with exasperated breath. Though Ninger isn't with us anymore, but at least her blood can after so long. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Ever since he first laid eyes on Bai Yen, he has had an emotional yearning for the girl. It urged him, propelled him to get close to her. If that's not the effect of their blood being one and the same, then what else? Pung! The cup in the old lord's hand shatters as he dropped it from his hand. Perhaps it's due to the answer being so fitting to his heart, but the trickling tears could no longer be contained as he burst into a bellowing laugh. Jinger wife, it must be you watching over us. Now your granddaughter will soon be at home. That is my granddaughter. No one can compare with her. Now my line will have a third-generational heir. When can I meet my granddaughter, my son? Will she like a grandfather like me? Oh right, you said she has a child now. Will her son like a great-grandfather like me? No matter what, we did remain oblivious to their existence for all these years. The elder's appearance looked no different from that of an insecure child. Asking this and asking that. Father, she is a good child as well as her son. I'm sure they wouldn't hate you. That's good then. Heaving a sigh of relief, Bai Changfeng rubs his hand nervously like an unsettled child. Then suddenly jerking up from his chair like he remembered something important. Oh no! I must prepare something for my granddaughter and great-grandson. What's your opinion? Should I hand over my medicine vault to them? Or my entire medicine sect instead? She's not lacking in medicinal ingredients, so you might as well hand over this place. Bai Zhangping's expression grew meaningful. The middle-aged man's intent was very simple. As long as he's free of the burden at home, then he could run off in search of his sister. Medicine sect 4. Compared with his father who hailed from the medicine sect, Bai Zhangping's mother only came from a normal household. But due to her outstanding ability, the pair eventually managed to overcome all the odds and got together. A true love story of heart and tears. But when two families of unequal standings get together, there's bound to be an unbalance of power. That's why the late mistress of the great medicine sect would go to such extreme means of requesting the husband to take care of her maiden family. They are average and without power. Zhangping, I know it's because you think Inger is too outstanding. That's why you would say such things. If you don't want to recognize her as your goddaughter, then that's fine. I still have my grandson Ming'er, though the child is a bit untamed, but he's a very filial boy. Unable to take a hint in his nephew's ridicule, the old granny continues on with her irritating rant. In any case, you have no children anyways, and I doubt you will ever find a partner with your ways. If we are going to let the medicine sect fall into the hands of an outsider, then it would be better to let my Ming'er inherit it. Don't worry, I can guarantee he will be a great lord and see to it that you be greatly cared for. As her words dragged on, the dastardlier it became, where it's already considered treasonous at this point. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Unable to take it anymore, Bai Changfeng finally snapped and smashed the teacup on the table. When have my position ever become something to be connived after by the likes of you? Don't think my patience has no limit. No matter how much I love your late sister, I will not permit others to have such thoughts while in my presence. If you test me again, even once, I will toss you out of my home. Brother-in-law, old Madame Ye's expression also darkens as a result. I am only doing this for your sake. When you and Zhangping is gone after growing old, who will look after this place? I'm only offering you a solution by letting Ming'er help. Now you are turning my goodwill into an act of evil. Talk about repaying a good deed with a bad one. In a fit of rage, the old shrew stamps her feet and turned away for the outside, all the while showing that twisted face of hers. Damn you, Li Jing. If you had agreed to let your bitch of a daughter, Bai Ning, marry my son years ago, then none of this would be happening. So what if no one else would admit it? Bai Ning, that little bitch has already disappeared for nearly 20 years. She must have died somewhere in the wild already. I can't let things continue like this. Brother-in-law is starting to distance himself from my family with each passing day. If the situation persists, it will just be a matter of time before my grandchildren and I get expelled from this place. I must make Zhangping take Ming'er as his son. Flickering a flash of sinisterly intent from her iris, old Madame Yi picks up her pace for the intended destination. Zhangping, maybe. I will really have to forsake your mother's dying wish one day. Even after the shrew left, the old grandpa's complexion remains as bad as it could be based on how heavy his breath was wheezing. Pained by his father's guiltiness, the son here hurried to help soothe the senior's back. Oh father, there are things one can't do. As long as you know you've done your greatest, then there's nothing to fret. Over the years anyone can see the level of indulgence you instilled upon the Yi family. If mother knows what you've done for them in the heavens, then I'm sure she wouldn't blame you either when you make the final decision. I can only hope, my son. Heaving a long sigh. I'm tired, leave me and let me rest. When the time is right, don't forget to bring that girl to me. Yes father, I promise you. Giving his old man an affirmative nod, Bai Zhangping promptly left to carry out his plan. Now, alone again and with a peace of mind, Bai Changfeng then slowly strolled over to a closet where a precious portrait has been stored. Opening it, what came into view was a warm woman gently smiling back at him, raising the trickles of tears inside the heartbroken man. Xiaqin's little revenge too. Oink. At the moment the pink piggy's face was being pinched by that fair hand of his owner, its eyes showing tears over the maltreatment. You are eating too much, piggy. Hurry and spit the food out of your mouth. Mo Lishang sternly orders. Otherwise you will have indigestion again. In light of his big bulging belly that made it difficult to even walk, the pink piggy refuses to relent and shakes his teary face in defiance. Spit it out, you spit it out right now. The teen's angry now. Firmly pressing down at the defiant pig's body, he pries open that gluttonous mouth and forcibly stuffed his fingers in there. Bai Xiaqin originally wanted to go say hi from behind, but after seeing what was pulled out of that slobbering mouth, he was dumbfounded and froze in place. Oinky oink. Piggy's expression appeared very sad after that. its eyes constantly shifting over to the little chick slobbered in his saliva. If one didn't know any better, it would look like the teen did the most heinous crime to him. As for its poor victim, the chick was obviously scared beyond its wits based on how shaky those legs were. Unsteady and confused, the poor thing instinctively ran towards the outside in that fashion. If you eat live stuff again in the future, then I will sell you. Emily Shang puffs up his cheeks, threatening the little fellow with his lolly face. Really, Piggy's appetite is getting bigger and bigger lately. If this continues, then I can't even afford to keep him. That did it. Stopping his whimpering cry upon that, the pink piggy remained sad in his eyes like a aggrieved child. Understanding he might have went a little overboard with that statement, Emily Shang scratches his head only to realize he's got company. Oh Xiachen, did you get scared? Piggy is just too gluttonous, so I can only resort to such means. If I don't take care of him, then he might really kill himself from overstuffing that belly. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. The piggy huffs a grunt in protest. I would rather die from overeating than to die from restraint. Suddenly, the image of that tender-looking little chick emerges within his head again, causing that mouth to drool for a second time. The little thing must be very tender. Look at how cute it's walking over there. Oh, how I want to eat it. Jolting up from the floor instantly, Emily Shang also showed a flushed face of anger. Who is it? Who dared to make trouble for Yin Yen? I think I remember she was called Ying. Blinking his cute little eyes. She should be coming here today as well. Why don't we go look for her? Yes, let's do that. A gleam of frosty cold escapes the teen's pupil. Because of the Bai Yan's existence, the two men here are of one accord, but Little Rice on the other hand thought otherwise. After listening in on their dialogue, the baby tiger reflexively blurts out his protest. But little master, the convention is about to begin. If mistress can't find you when it's time, then she will be very angry at us. Little Rice, pinching his lips into a flat line, Bai Xiachen swiftly calls out in warning. Apparently the baby tiger forgets something important. He's not supposed to talk in front of the public. Understanding the mistake and possible consequence of his actions just now, Little Rice hurries to look up at the teen with an unnerving unease. Xiachen's Little Revenge 3. However Emily Shang's expression remains unchanged. Uncle Mo, Bai Xiachen quiets down his voice. Aren't you finding it strange that Little Rice can talk? Nowadays there aren't many creatures outside of humankind capable of regular speech. Aside from the most powerful of existences within the abyss of the demon forest, it's almost non-existent. Why should it be strange? The teen blinked, clearly confused by that question. Piggy could also talk before, just that he's injured and lost the ability for now. No wonder. Heaving a sigh of great relief, Bai Xiachen raises a brilliant smile. Uncle Mo, please keep Little Rice's ability to speak a secret. I don't want to bring more trouble for mother because of this. Puckering that displeased lip, the baby boy obviously didn't like the childish suggestion. I didn't expect this from you, Uncle Mo, using such a childish trick on me. I'm not 3 anymore. I'm not going to do something like that anymore. However, giving it a second, he grins. I will still believe in Uncle Mo regardless. Now it was Emily Shang's turn to be taken back, his eyes shifting to his own pinky in puzzlement. I got called childish, but a child this. Uncle Mo, let's go. Turning around, Bai Xiachen was ready to leave when the baby tiger bit against his sleeve pitifully. Little master, you really can't go, mistress will be angry. Perhaps it's to soothe his little friend's unease when patting down at that head. But the boy's words were damning. Don't worry, Little Rice. I will not do anything dangerous. When the time comes that mother asks, I will just say it was you who dragged me to go along. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. This literally made the poor tiger cry out in grievance. I just knew he will be like this. Any trouble will always be on my head. No, I can't let you go, little mast. In a flash of idea, the baby tiger wanted to yell for attention. Unfortunate for him, the boy's hand worked much faster than his vocals could and muffled that tongue by grabbing his throat. We better leave, Uncle Mo. If mother learns of this, then we can't go anymore. Dare to bully Yin Yen? Humph. I will show that woman what it means to cross us. Yuhua, seeing how much of an agreement these two blasted fellas are. Little Rice could only mourn his own life. This really isn't my fault, mistress. I've already done my best to stop little master. At the same time, somewhere else in the venue, Yi Ying in her faint blue skirt was currently strolling through the area, with an elder following her side. The only difference here was that the old man was a different one instead of that Yi Zeng. Then all of a sudden, the girl halts in her footstep as that brow locked up. Uncle Ling, how is the matter going? Don't worry, miss. I've already placed the young lord's ring into the woman's room. When the time comes, we can begin spreading the rumor about the love affair, and use the item as proof. The old senior known as Yi Ling answers respectfully like an elder and a servant, showing a sly grin. This cannot be blamed on me. If she had only listened to my suggestion from the start, then why would we be going through all this trouble? Shame though, she violated my order, and even my grand uncle is refusing to help me. Xiaqin's little revenge for. If that's the case, then I could only rely on myself. Miss, my older brother's illness. Is there really no other way? Yi Ling frowned and asked the lady. I have already tasked those elders of the medicine sect to take a look at Uncle Zeng. Right now we have no idea why he's suffering so painfully. Making a reluctant sigh, Yi Ying continues. There is no other way. We can only wait until Deep Song becomes my man. By then we can have him return Uncle Zeng to his normal state, since he's the one who made the move. Bump. It was then that a small little figure came smashing over, hitting the unsuspecting lady in full swing. As a result of this, Yi Ying not only staggered backwards, her expression also shifted negatively at the little steam bun's identity. If not for the multiple gazes coming her way, she would have smacked the boy away in a direct slap across the cheeks. It's you. Masking her irritation, she puts on a surprised tone. Are you okay? How can you be so careless? Fortunately, the one you hit is me. If it was any other adult, then they might have made things difficult for you. Following that statement, the gazes are now shifted over to Bai Xiaqin instead, their eyes accusing and reprimanding. How unexpected. To think this child is so poorly tutored that he would rampage around the venue. Thankfully it's Miss Yi Ying who caught him. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Climbing up from the ground by now, Bai Xiaqin wouldn't stop shivering as he bit his lip, those tears flowing like a waterfall. Sorry. I didn't mean it. I just wanted to ask you to let my father go. What? Let him go? What is going on? The crowds of people all fell into a startled shock, their allegation transforming into a questioning one. What do you mean by that? Darkening in her expression, Yi Ying coldly asks. Considering how persuasive that teary face expression was, the crowds of people gathered here today instantly got pulled into the story, their minds dismissing the fact of how unbelievable the story truly was at its core. What are you babbling about? Blindsided by the outrageous claim, Yi Ying didn't know how to absorb the content. Yi Ming is my real blood brother. How can I have a baby with my own brother? Moreover, the one I want to marry is Deetsong. When did I ever demand he become my male concubine? If I was truly that unruly, wouldn't the world ridicule me to death? What is this blasted child talking about, damn it? Kid, if you keep talking nonsense, then watch how I will smack that lips of yours. Infuriated now, the girl threatens menacingly. Trembling even harder at that threat, grievance now filled the boy's face. Perhaps Bai Xiaqin really did get frightened by those words, but it's unlikely. You not only want to take away my father, now you also want to snatch me away to be your child, Essie. Oh my, that is. How can she do something so? One of the onlookers present today started to mutter something into his peer's ear, directing the opinion into forbidden grounds. Yes, it is. Bai Xiaqin cries out in an extremely miserable manner. I heard everything from outside the door that day. Mother is already about Lu's father. Now you also want to snatch me away from her. How can you do something so cruel? How can you drive my mother into a corner, alone and without husband and son? Ow, I don't want to leave with an old witch like you. Yi Ying's face finally crumbled into a distorted mess. Heaving a heavy breath into her chest, she expels her restraint in an attempt to nab at the insolent brat. Acting all around 1. Ahwa! Yi Ying's hand didn't even touch the boy, yet when Bai Xiachen burst into tears. In front of this heartfelt appearance, no sane person could possibly bear to remain indifferent. I really don't understand why someone would be willing to move against such a lovely child. This is truly and utterly heartless. You little. The girl's inner heart surged with anger as she forced herself to smile. I think you must be misunderstanding something. I only want to take you to a quieter place to talk. After all, there are many people around, so it wouldn't be good if they misunderstand you. Aunties, uncles, big brother and big sisters. Please don't let her take me away. I don't want to be a child. Now that's all the crowd needed to push them over the edge. They've long felt uncomfortable to witness a child being forced into something so illicit. Yet the boy himself still felt the need to remain polite in his manner of speech. I remembered now, a bystander suddenly exclaims from the side. The evaluation of Miss Yi Ying may be excellent over the years, but there has never been any woman around her. The people are always males, and she seemed to be very much enjoying the fact. Visit my site on Patranslation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Yes, and if it was replaced by the average person, they would certainly have a change in face after being exposed by the little guy. The fact that she's still able to smile so willingly must mean she's a very deep-thoughted woman. To be able to attend the alchemy convention meant they are no fools. Just a bit of hint, and a bit of insight was more than enough to connect the dots for those in attendance. Of course, it would have been a different story if the character here was the lady of the medicine sect. But it's not. Yi Ying's only a distant relative of the current old lord. Even if they do reprimand her, the hosts themselves wouldn't do anything, especially when this said relative was the unsupportive type, who's done nothing to contribute aside from leeching around. Now, no longer able to keep up that smiling facade, the woman turns bitter and signals her follower to move and grab the impudent brat before more damages could be done. Unfortunately for her, a third person had rushed over to cut into the fray in that split second. Uncle, how come you are here? Still leaking tears of pity on that face, Bai Xiachen sounded nervous with unease. Didn't I tell you not to come? If you are also taken away by this horrible, which then mother really would be all alone then. Showing a resentful and enraged face, Emily Shang looked like a determined warrior ready to meet his end. I would rather die than to go with this old witch. You must do the same, my dear Xiachen. Don't worry. If anything, our family can start over in the afterlife. I will never leave sister or you, okay? Acting all around 2. Uncle, Xiachen. The two turns to hug each other, crying their hearts out in appearance, and putting on the act of the century. Naturally this aggravated Yi Ying to no ends. Shaking all over from the act, the girl glares dagger at the two bastards trying to frame her. I still have time. There's no one else from the medicine sect here. Even if I remove them now to somewhere else, I can still cover it up without anyone to prove it. Uncle Ling, the girl roars out to her follower, indicating him to move before this scene gets further out of hand. Tell everyone this instant that your story is all made up. Otherwise I'm going to kill you for the treachery of today's deed. The senior draws his blade, aiming straight at the teen and child still crying across from themselves. Arg, damn this Yi Ling. I only wanted him to drag them away, not do something like this. He's so useless. Sure enough, the alchemists whom came to attend the conference were all frowning openly with contempt now. They didn't expect someone to be so dumb to openly threaten to take one's life while in their presence. Miss Yi Ying, although you are a distant relative of the current lord of the medicine sect, but that doesn't mean you can just take others' life as you please. The old lord of this great sect has always been an upright person all his life. I suggest you rethink your actions lest you want to destroy his reputation by your own hands. Yes, I concur with that. When have the medicine sect fallen into a state where they are openly bullying the weak? Oh dear, look at how terribly sad their crying voices are. Just listening to it is making me want to tear up as well. The last comment obviously hailed from a madam. For the female sex, it's always been easier to win them over using their motherly instinct, especially when the subjects are a young lolly-looking teen and a cute little child. Uncles and aunties, Bai Xiachen climbs up with his tears still leaking. This isn't the fault of the medicine sect. I implore you all not to involve the innocent. My only hope is that this witch would stop trying to tear my family apart. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Oh, what a sensible child he is. A female bystander heaves a sigh, wondering what sort of mother could produce such an outstanding son. Don't worry, child. With so many of us here today, we will definitely not let your family be separated. However, the fact that you are here means your family is also here to attend the alchemy convention. Towards that over-exaggerative proclamation, the crowds of bystanders didn't hold any negative opinion for it. Rather, it only increased their goodwill due to the statement. After all, it's normal for a child to look towards their parents as the best. There's nothing wrong with that view. Miss Ying. The woman in turn shifted her attention over to the subject of condemnation. Today is the alchemy convention. Aren't you worried about disgracing your elders by doing something so outlandish? Humph. Twisting her expression, the girl herself only huffed a grunt. Uncle Ling, we're leaving. Just you wait, you brat. I will get you back for this one day. Yes, milady. Firing a heavy glare at the teen and child as well. The senior left in turn despite his unwillingness to leave things as it was. Getting the results he wanted, Bai Xiachen finally revealed that momentary sly grin of his. He's a fox, a true master of deception. Waving at the crowd, he says his goodbye like the perfect closing of a show. Ying too. Is Bai Zhangping looking for us, or is it your family's lady? Faintly wrinkling her temple, Bai Yin asks. Towards the inquisitiveness of the woman, Yi Zeng only sneered as his eyes revealed the true contemptuous nature he has of her. This lady, Lord Bai may not even know who you are, so of course it would be my lady. Who is Bai Zhangping? He is the second-generational lord of the medicine sect. How could a normal person ever think about approaching such an esteemed figure? Oh, since it's not the man himself who wants a meeting, then it's only normal for Bai Yan's reception to fan down as well. Showing a face that's lost interest. I do not know your lady, so you can go back. This girl. Pulling down his face, Yi Zeng's attitude promptly got rude. My lady is the medicine sect's people. Aren't you worried about the consequences for refusing us? Anyone would know by now the uncalled-for visitor comes with ill intent at this point. What perplexes Bai Yin here was why. It's not like she had any interaction with the members of the medicine sect aside from Bai Jinpeng. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. So the medicine sect likes to force others against their will? Curving that lip into a mocking grin, her eyes confronts the elder head-on. You. Yi Zeng was ready to lose that facade after being ridiculed. However, before he could do so, a blast of oppressive aura had come flying at him, and sending his old body shooting out like a twirling hurricane. Who can force my wife if she's unwilling? Scram before I let you understand what it means to cross her. Like a blade in that threat, the threatening figure that's known as Deedsong steps in to make his claim. Awif. Coughing hard to throw up several mouthfuls of blood, Yi Zeng's condition wasn't doing so well as he laid there on the ground. Considering how ghastly white his complexion looked, it's obvious he suffered some heavy internal injuries from that attack. Uncle Zeng. Crisp like a spring breeze, the soft melodic voice that suddenly cuts in originates from the rear. Miss. By now the downstairs have quieted down as well, their eyes focused in on that glamorous woman in green. Isn't that Miss Ying? How come she's here? Since there's no third-generational heir to the medicine sect yet, most younglings are currently targeting the closest thing to it, and that was Yi Ying, a distant relative of the current lord. Uncle Zeng, what are you doing? Showing a faintly annoyed face, Yi Ying apparently wasn't very pleased with her followers' performance. I asked you to invite these two guests over. Why are you showing such rude behavior instead? Hurry and apologize to them. Dumbfounded at first over the order, Yi Zeng nevertheless knew what the lady was doing, making an unwilling bow. Apologies, I've been rude. Now that she's salvaged the situation, the one known as Yi Ying then shifts her attention to the two inside the room. Please overlook this occasion, he did not know better. May I come in and have a cup of tea while we talk? Considering how soft and tender that smiling face was, No one should be able to refuse such a beauty. However, Song's the exception, darkening in his face until it's a gloomy storm. My wife doesn't like associating with strangers. In short, he meant scram. Not only did the uninvited girl not get angry, Ying even smiled at Bai Yan like a confident peacock. First, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ying. Miss, I'm assuming you are here to attend the alchemy convention, am I correct? I can help you with that, and even introduce you to an elder of our sect. I'm sure with my word you would be able to get some pointers during your time here. How about it? As tempting as that proposal would be for others, Bai Yan acted like she didn't hear a thing, stretching out her limbs while lazing around in the man's embrace. She's no different from a sloth at the moment. Song, that face of yours really is troublesome, always attracting these pests over when they are not wanted. Acting all around for Uncle Mo. Following the disappearance of his friend's fleeting back, Bai Xiachen then shifts his gaze back over to the teen. I really like you. Do you like me as well? That face couldn't be any more friendly and innocent as he spoke. Initially, Mo Lishang was rather stunned by the boy's proactive initiative. Nevertheless, he composes himself to answer. Of course. Do you really like me as well, Xiachen? I really do. Giving an earnest nod as confirmation. I've always wanted another uncle. Why don't Uncle Mo become my real uncle? Looking at the big, watery eyes of the little steam bun, Mo Lishang's brain didn't even need to think and nodded without forethought. Yes, I will be your uncle. If Uncle Mo becomes my uncle, then he would become Mother's younger brother. That means in the future, he won't be able to threaten Batty Father's position. What's more, we will then be another step closer to going into the demon realm. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Oh crap! As if suddenly recalling something important, the teen exclaims out of nowhere. Uncle, are you regretting it? Bai Xiachen mutters pitifully, his eyes showing grievance. No, it's not. I seem to have forgotten about Piggy. Not far from the main aisle, a certain pink piggy was currently trying hard to gain the attention of the public by crying and wiping those tears with a handkerchief. Sadly for him though, the surrounding crowds doesn't seem to be all that interested and soon dispersed. Where's the people? Why are they all gone? Did I not perform up to standard? Hey, don't leave. Oh wait, where is Master? At the same time over at Mo Lishang's end, the teen was showing an annoyed yet apologetic face. Xiachen, wait here for me, okay? Don't run around. I will first go find Piggy and come back. Damn it, I actually forgot something as important as this. Piggy is so timid, he must be so scared right now. Okay. Hurrying a nod with that little head. Don't worry about me, uncle. I can wait here while you go look for Piggy. You are so good, Xiachen, I'm going now. Giving the boy a rub on the head, Mo Lishang then dashed towards the direction in which he came. Now, alone since both of his companions are gone, Bai Xiachen could only kick the nearby rocks around due to how bored he was. You are Xiachen. Just then, an ecstatic voice suddenly came from behind. Grandpa Zhamping? Blinking his eyes in surprise, the little steam bun didn't expect to see this familiar person here at this time. Regarding Bai Zhamping, the boy did have a good impression of the handsome man due to him staying at their home during the treatment. But now, thanks to the influence of Yi Ying's distasteful deeds during the past few days, Bai Xiachen's fondness had dipped to a new low. Grandfather Zhamping, I should go find mother now, so bye-bye. In the heart of the boy, no one could be more important than Bai Yan. Therefore, he holds no remorse for humiliating Yi Ying, just that it meant he would be in a dilemma when facing this man. The imminent start of the convention. 1. Xiachen, you don't want to see me? Hurt to the point where his heart aches terribly, Bai Zhamping asks with sadness in his voice. No, it's not like that, the boy hurries to reply after seeing the man's reaction. I also like Grandpa Zhamping a lot. Then why do you want to leave as soon as you saw me? Not answering for the longest time, Bai Xiachen took a good minute before he could make up his mind. Grandpa Zhamping, I won't leave, don't worry. Xiachen, your mother, is she also here as well? Bai Zhamping hurries to ask. Blinking his eyes at the inquiry, Bai Xiachen faintly nods in confirmation. Mother is at the main avenue. Do you want to meet her? It's absolutely true the man here wanted to meet his niece before knowing she's here. But now that he's confronting with the truth, it appears Bai Zhangping was starting to get the cold feet instead. What would she do if I tell her right away about our relationship? Maybe she would take it as me trying to use her or something bad. No, I can't let the small little bit of good feelings I built in her eyes to be tarnished over something mediocre like impatience. I must come up with a way to prove our identity with father first. Also, it will also avoid those other people within the medicine sect from saying those irresponsible remarks. The man's head churned with ideas, his eyes nervous and unsure when meeting the baby boy's eye. Xiaochen, I like to ask you a question. What if your mother suddenly discovers she has another grandfather? Would she accept him? Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Well, that's of course if this grandfather likes me a lot. Blinking his big innocent eyes, Bai Xiaochen tilts his head like he's a tad confused by the strange question. Mother would surely like him as well if that's the case. Bai Zhangping became rather speechless over this answer. It's too straightforward. Xiaochen, your great-grandfather would surely like you, just that your mother I have a way. Bai Zhangping's eye flashed with glee. As long as Xiaochen you help me get a close intimate object from your mother, even a strand of hair will do, then I can do that. Will you help Grandpa Zhangping in the task? Even if the man himself was already sure of Bai Yan's identity to a certain degree, but merely recognizing the girl back into the family wouldn't be enough. His main objective lies in gifting the entire medicine sect to the girl. In that case, he must stuff up the mouths of those old-timers first using a special method. Blood mixing won't prove anything, he knows that much. Really, the boy's eye lit up as well. Then Grandpa Zhangping can help find my mother's relative? I can only give it a try. In addition, this is a secret between us. Don't tell your mother first. Rubbing that little head, the man's expression shined with gentle warmth. Okay. Giving a serious nod, Bai Xiaochen then became troubled while he bit his lip. But Grandpa Zhangping, would you? Let's say if your daughter was bullied by someone, would you hate those people? You must get justice for me one. First taking a casual sip from her tea, Bai Yan then revealed a shallow smile at the impudent girl. What do you think? Then I will not beat around the bush. Taking a seat of her own volition, Ying cluelessly starts making a demand. Don't you think you should invite me to a drink as well? Without manners, the girl went ahead to make a grab for the other cup on the table. There are only 2 cups in the room in total. Aside from the one being used already, there's only one other remaining on the table, meaning it belongs to a certain silver-haired man. Naturally Ying knew that point. That's why her lips were showing a marvelous smile like the spring's breeze at being able to share the same cup as that man. However, just when the girl's about to make contact with the cup, Bai Yan had grabbed it off of the tray and smashed it onto the ground. Sorry, my hand is slipped. Still showing her shallow smile like it's nothing's happened in light of that blatant act of rudeness, the enchanting woman then brought out a handkerchief for her foe like someone pitying a beggar. Miss, you wouldn't be here for my child's father, are you? Hand slip? Che. Sneering in her heart, Ying wanted to laugh at the competition over her lack of openness. Suppressing the inner rage, she got straight to the point. That's right. I am here for that man. I am not the hypocritical type, so I will admit it in front of you. I fell in love with him after the first time I laid eyes on him. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. If it was the average person, one would certainly fall into a panic when a love rival comes knocking at their door. However, unfazed and glowing stronger than ever, the enchanting woman that's known as Bai Yan has never been known to back down from a challenge. Knowing she's messed up after not get a reaction, Ying now clues in on her own folly. She's underestimated the woman. Lady, sucking in a deep breath, she continues to use her calm voice. Loving a person isn't about possession. It's to think about what's good for the other half. I'm sure you know about my position within the medicine sect. If you release him, then it may not be necessarily a bad thing. Chuckling. If you want to get him, then let me offer you a good solution. Just go find him, Why bother coming to see me? If so, wouldn't that give him the notoriety of throwing away his wife and child? Showing a frown, Ying turns all aggressive like she's spouting justice. How can you bear to have him shoulder such a bad name? So, are you claiming you have a better solution? Though still smiling, Bai Yan's iris had gotten cold like a vicious predator now. I do. Trying hard to hide that nefarious grin from her face. Miss, I'm sure you love your husband very much, so you would do anything for him. Am I right? Now this got quite interesting. Not speaking at all, she awaits what this impudent girl wants to say. I have an older brother, only slightly older than you. If you are willing to sacrifice yourself, then I can match the two of you together. At the time, don't you believe the outcome would be better suited for everyone? Now this was just downright hilarious, causing Bai Yan to spill tears of mockery at the foe. So your meaning is to have me collude with your brother first. This way the world could sympathize with Di Song's act of abandoning me and my son. By then, you will step in to show your love, allowing the world to praise you about your kind-heartedness? You must get justice for me too. Bai Yan's words may be blunt and direct, however. It also pointed out the impudent girl's real intent with no wiggle room for excuses. It's true my meaning is like that. But why is it that I've been turned into a heinous witch coming out of this woman's mouth? Ying furrows that brow like she's perplexed by the situation. Am I not doing this for the sake of us both? The man would immediately become extraordinary after marriage. And this woman would also transform from a chicken into a peacock by marrying my brother. And the payment? Merely a title of being a wretched wife who cheated behind her husband's back. What's wrong with that? Compared to the benefits, anyone would know what to choose in this case. Lady Yu. The girl's expression darkened somewhat. She wanted to say more after that momentary silence, but it appears the opposition was done listening. Ying, your plan is very good indeed. The benefits are all yours and the bad are dumped onto another. However, unfortunately for you, I am not a person who would be taken advantage of. Lady, going cold in her complexion as well. I never thought you were such a person. Your man must have been blinded. If it was me in your position, then I would have gladly obliged this request. It's all for his sake. If one doesn't even know how to make sacrifices, then how can one talk about love? You do not deserve him. Visit my site on Patranslation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Oh, is that your opinion? Bai Yan wanted to laugh but held it in to form a smirk instead. As it so happens, he actually needs a favor at this very moment. It's not difficult at all for you, in fact. All it requires of you is to scram out of here. Would you be willing to oblige? From green to gleaming red, Yi Ying's facade finally crumbles to reveal her true menacing nature. Don't push your luck. Not going to be trampled while on her own turf. Bai Yan has gotten up from her chair, slowly strolling over to the girl in question. The woman's aura increased exponentially until it's almost oppressive. I have already been very kind to you out of consideration for Bai Zhangping's sake. Otherwise, you wouldn't have even made it one step into my room. In addition, I have something else to tell you. Halting in her footstep, she sneers at the impudent girl who's glaring fire. Firstly, I am not stupid enough to sacrifice myself for someone whom I believe is not worthy of me. Why should I as a woman sacrifice myself for the sake of a man, just because the world deems it worthy? Secondly, I will not relinquish my man to another if I have chosen him, nor would I believe he would betray me for another. Thirdly, the cup just now is used by my little pet to drink water. But my pet is too clean, and your breath is too dirty. That's why I smashed it. You are too polluted to taint his stuff. In order to prove Bai Yan's claim, Little Rice immediately followed up with a meow sound of his own to show off the disgusted opinion he had of the girl in green. You impudent wench! No matter how good of a facade she has, no matter how good of a control freak she was, there's no way Yi Ying could remain unfazed after that insult. Her voice was downright screaming like a woman yelling out at the market. You came to the medicine sect to attend the alchemy convention. You want to see the sorts of methods I have to make it so you can't enter it. Okay, I am waiting. Smirking with ridicule at the ignorant fool, Bai Yin lazily leans against the room pillar next to herself like she didn't have a care in the world. A blatant act of dismissing someone, which clearly worked based on how receptively livid Yi Ying was. Huffing a heavy grunt, it took a good minute for the girl in green to recompose herself. Since you've said it to such a degree, then I won't continue to linger in your presence. But remember this, I will definitely make you regret today's decision. In addition, your man, he will definitely become mine. That said, she promptly stomps away without looking back. Hold on. Unconsciously, a smug grin escapes the girl upon hearing the voice from behind. What, regret it? Unfortunately for the impudent fool that's known as Yi Ying, her words didn't even have a chance to finish before a flying kick of a foot landed right smack into her chest, sending that body flying out across the air like a rice sack. Until the very last second, the girl still couldn't believe what she was experiencing. The only thing she could see was Bai Yan's peerless contour slowly shrinking from view, and the disbelieving fact that she's been assaulted. The imminent start of the convention not long after the little stir, an elder soon took the stage after most of the attendees have arrived to participate. It is Elder CEO Wang. Elder CEO Wang is one of the few 7th-grade alchemists within the medicine sect. To think someone so prestigious would be in charge of overseeing the alchemy conference today. Though many were surprised by the new entry, but more than that, their eyes were filled with awe and worship instead. That's a 7th-grade alchemist master. Most wouldn't ever reach such a height in their entire lifetime. Elder CEO Wang. Just as the prestigious elder got partway up the stage, Yi Ying's shallow voice had come from behind. I was just wondering, mind if I make a request from you? I know I am inexperienced, but may I know if I can be the host instead this time? Not only was this girl the Lord's distant relative, he's also heard of the rumor regarding the young Lord Bai Zhangping taking the girl as his daughter. By then perhaps the entire medicine sect would be inherited by the lass. Faced with such a prospect, how could he dare oppose such figure? Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. That's wonderful. Yi Ying raises a smirky grin. This time our medicine sect invited only the capable. There are no idling individuals among its ranks, I believe. Therefore, it's safe to assume each sect in power came with a whole team, as well as their chief alchemist. In order to avoid wasting time, anyone without an invitation or team should be excluded from participating in the event. The girl's smile deepened further after giving away her intent. She's investigated already prior to today. Bai Yin only came with her family, and no one else. If that's the case, her new rules should automatically exclude the woman. That's what you get for going against me time and time again. I like to see how you will return home and explain yourself to your sect. It must be said, any who could come participate are outstanding individuals, with either a certain level of background or skill. To forcibly kick any of them out meant it's a direct offense to both the individual and the Lord himself. Elder CEO Wang, returning to a harmless smile. I am also doing this for the sake of the convention. After all, there's only so many days for everyone to go over the Dan pill recipes we prepared. In order to avoid wasting energy on the useless, we should just remove this variable altogether. Besides, the whole point of the alchemy convention is to gather the power of the masses, is it not? What could a single individual possibly have to offer? Though a tad reluctant to agree with this idea, CEO Wang nevertheless nodded his head. Miss Yi Ying is very reasonable. Very well. Each participating faction can leave behind 10 alchemists to attend. Any more or any less shall be omitted. He's got the news already when the messenger came to him, that the Lord himself wouldn't come attend the convention. Therefore, even if he does go along with Yi Ying's request, none would ask about it afterwards. What's more, he's only doing this for the sake of the medicine sect. There should be no room to question his decision later. You must get justice for me for. Old Madam Yi steals her heart. Okay, I will go to him. Even if I have to use that bitchly Jing's sister name again, I will have him agree to our demands. In this world, how can one not help relative over outsiders? Brother-in-law isn't befuddled to such a degree. Unfortunately for her though, it appears Bai Changfeng was fully intent on avoiding this dreaded shrew at all costs. No matter what she did or what she tried, the guards refuses to waver. Back inside the study, the old lord of the medicine sect was currently painfully rubbing his temple as he sighed helplessly. These people really are endless. Since you already said you won't take Ying as your daughter, then it should have been the end of it. Why can't they understand when to back off? Smiling wryly as well, Bai Zhangping attempts to soothe his old man's woes. Father, you don't have to see them. Even if your feelings for mother is deep, it still doesn't excuse them for their unending nagging. No one should put up with them. Son, how are things going with your investigation? And when is she coming? Bai Changfeng's voice sounded tense, his eyes whimpering with concern. Naturally, Bai Zhangping would know who his old man was referring to. The messenger I sent returned with word that the girl is currently away from home. As to whether or not she is my sister's daughter, I can say with almost certainty now. From my investigation, that daughter of the Lan House did in fact know someone by the name of Bai Ning years ago. Just that her family doesn't know if it's one and the same. Inhaling deeply, he continues with exasperated breath. Though Ninger isn't with us anymore, but at least her blood can after so long. Visit my site on Patranslation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Ever since he first laid eyes on Bai Yin, he has had an emotional yearning for the girl. It urged him, propelled him to get close to her. If that's not the effect of their blood being one and the same, then what else? Pung. The cup in the old lord's hand shatters as he dropped it from his hand. Perhaps it's due to the answer being so fitting to his heart, but the trickling tears could no longer be contained as he burst into a bellowing laugh. Jinger wife, it must be you watching over us. Now your granddaughter will soon be at home. That is my granddaughter. No one can compare with her. Now my line will have a third-generational heir. By this stage, Bai Changfeng's very old hands were shaking. In fact, the trembling was so bad that he couldn't even manage to get a grip on the second teacup. When can I meet my granddaughter, my son? Will she like a grandfather like me? Oh right, you said she has a child now. Will her son like a great-grandfather like me? No matter what, we did remain oblivious to their existence for all these years. The elder's appearance looked no different from that of an insecure child. Asking this and asking that. Father, she is a good child as well as her son. I'm sure they wouldn't hate you. That's good then. Heaving a sigh of relief, Bai Changfeng rubs his hand nervously like an unsettled child. Then suddenly jerking up from his chair like he remembered something important. Oh no! I must prepare something for my granddaughter and great-grandson. What's your opinion? Should I hand over my medicine vault to them, or my entire medicine sect instead? She's not lacking in medicinal ingredients, so you might as well hand over this place. Bai Zhangping's expression grew meaningful. The middle-aged man's intent was very simple. As long as he's free of the burden at home, then he could run off in search of his sister. She is the disciple of the Holy Land, too. Rubbing her chin, Bai Yin looked like she's contemplating something. We can just say the medicine sect bullied us and kept us from attending. If your grandchiefs want to make a ruckus for that, then just let them come in person. Ying immediately sneered with contempt after hearing that outrageous comment. Who would dare come make trouble at the medicine sect? How laughable. This woman is really too arrogant. Okay, mother, let's go home then. I don't want to give this old witch an opportunity to snatch me away. Absolutely adorable in his voice, the little steam bun looked nothing like the little devil that he was not long ago. Pity though, Ying has already become the goddaughter of the young lord here. No matter how sympathetic they are of the mother and son, they had neither the influence nor power to stop the outcome. Now, without any more hindrance or care, Bai Yin slowly turned away with her son in hand. She looked nothing like someone facing defeat, rather that of a winner in how calm and proud her demeanor was. Then all of a sudden, her eyes narrowed as the contour of a handsome young man's face came into sight. Yin Yin, filled with excitement in that voice. The youngster who owned the voice quickly made a dash for that enchanting red figure, in an attempt to give her a hearty hug. Unfortunately for this newcomer, the only response he got was a foot in front of his face, and sending him flying as a result. Oh Yin Yen, you are still the same as before, always so cruel. Landing on his ass, the youngster's eye tears up over the horrible treatment. Oh, she is so cruel. Ever since I lost to her in that contest, and became her subordinate, she's never seen me again. Even worse, she just dumped a bunch of people in my hands, and told me to train them. How can someone be so rude and not caring? Oh wait, that's not quite right. Yin Yin did come see me a couple of months ago, and taught me a lesson in alchemy. Uncle Wenru, it's been a long time. Waving at the youngster, Bai Shachen smiles kindly at the poor man. According to his memory, the little steam bun was only 3 years old when they met, a baby still. In a blink of an eye, the little kid has grown up to be a preteen. Wenru, what are you doing here? Raising a smile, Bai Yin shakes her head at this silly subordinate of hers. Visit my site on Cat Translation, if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Oh, I was going to find you and give you the invitation letter. But when I went to the flower brothel and asked around, Hualuo told me you were gone. That's why I rushed over to the medicine sect after hearing you were around. Taking out the invitation letter from his pocket, Wenru readily hands over the item to Bai Yin, thus attracting the attention of everyone nearby. This is the invitation for the convention? Sounding unsure, Elder CEO Wang sharply swept his gaze over to the reddish figure. Why do you have 2 invitation slips? 2 invitation letter? This is impossible. The medicine sect would never make such a blunder, and would most certainly not hand a single person 2 invites. If so, there's only one possibility then. The woman here, she did not bring an invitation letter with her in the first place, and secretly snuck inside without authorization. Giving a shrug at the senior's questioning gaze, Bai Yin also found it surprising. How strange, the invite slip I have is from my Shifus, so who sent me this one then? Suddenly, a certain name came jumping out at the bottom of her consciousness by Zhanpeng. She is the disciple of the Holy Land 3. If Bai Zhanpeng didn't know I was a member of the Holy Land, then this is all justifiable. Yin Yin, did I do something wrong? Blinking his eyes, Wenru asks in an innocent tone. It's all right, I'm merely caught off guard that I had another invite slip. No matter though. Showing a cold smile, Bai Yin gives it a second before continuing. Even if they sent me more of this, I'm already past it and would rather leave. As soon as her words came out, she was already walking forward again with her son, the voice faint and uninterested. Wenru, let's go. Befuddled by the strangeness, the youngster hurried to catch up. Did someone bully you and Xiachen? If so, then tell me. I will beat them up for you. No need. Someone else will naturally come settle the bill once they learned of me being unable to attend. Showing a grin, Bai Yin dismisses the offer and continued onward. Hold it. Just as Bai Yin was about to leave, a cold hollering voice stops her from behind. Miss, you can't go. Is there something? You coming without an invitation is our medicine sect's fault. But you must stay behind to help with our investigation regardless. Elder CEO Wang's attitude was stern and unyielding, evident of how serious he was about all this. Did you not hear? I have 2 invitations. Ho ho. The senior dismisses the idea with a laugh. How could that be? There's no way we would make such a mistake. Miss, I hope you. Before his last words could even finish, the target of his restriction has already pulled out an invitation from her pocket, as well as the one from Wenru. Visit my site on Cat Translation, if you wish to read ahead of public releases. I'm returning your invite slips. Son, let's go home before these people get annoying. At the same time, 2 perfectly fine flat objects were thrown in front of his face, the golden glinted words burning the elder's eye in doing so. For that split second, his breathing literally stopped as his heart pounded away. CEO Wang could see it clearly, there's no illusion. One was just an ordinary invite slip they sent to the regular powers, but the second one that was pulled out of the woman's pocket had the words of Holy directly imprinted on the surface. Holy Land. Why the sudden change and why a young disciple at that? Elder CEO Wang? Noticing the panic in the senior's eye, Ying bites down on her own lips and asked, what happened? Oh crap. At this time the senior could care less what Ying wanted. Seeing how Bai Yan and her son's about to leave, he promptly picked up the invite slips and made a hard dash at the two. Miss, please wait. Stopping for a second time, Bai Yan's tone grew impatient and irritated. I've already returned the invite slips. What else do you want? You can stay. Flushing in embarrassment, CEO Wang blurts this out. This girl's the disciple of the Holy Land. Even if she's the most insignificant of the kind, she's still the representative for that power. How ironic, I nearly expelled the disciple from the Holy Land when I should be catering to her every need. Making a sneer after seeing the slips in the elder's hand, Bai Yan's voice remains cold and indifferent. Apologies, but I've lost interest in this alchemy convention. You, turning slightly white in his face, CEO Wang wanted to slap the girl at the rude answer. Don't this girl know when to stop? I've already lowered myself to such a degree. She is the disciple of the Holy Land for. Miss, you going back like this wouldn't be very good. Aren't you afraid of being blamed by your elders? Oh, Bai Yan replies in a mild tone. But I'm still not interested in this convention. Then what would it take to make you stay? CEO Wang choked. Still, he said what must be said. It was hard-won, the senior, no doubt. But his words were like a bomb, raising waves among the crowds who were stunned by the meaning. Just now, didn't he want to expel the woman out? What's going on? Why ask her to stay all of a sudden? Of course, Bai Yan would notice the foe's expression, making a smirky grin. Have her beg me. Miss Bai, you are too much. Turning green at the demand, Ying hurries to seek help. Elder CEO, you wouldn't be a dotard, right? You are sure of this? Squeezing his hand into a fist, CEO Wang's gaze flickered with a flash of coldness. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. If the medicine sect holds no sincerity, then that's fine. I can just take my leave. Leaving nothing but a fleeting smile, Bai Yan once again turns away. Fine. Drawing in a deep heavy breath, the elder shifts his sight onto the source of all this mess. Miss Ying, ask her to stay. What? Widening her eyes in dismay, Ying couldn't believe what she's hearing. She is a disciple of the Holy Land. If we were to drive her away, then it's the same as face-slapping the other side. Once the matter returns to their side, it would inevitably cause discord among both sides. Bang! Like the foolish girl, the entire venue had also fallen into an eerie silence over the news. Elder CEO Wang, she is really a disciple of the Holy Land? Ying faintly asks, her skin pale and lifeless. Heaving a long breath at the question. The invitation is indeed the one we sent to the Holy Land. The fact that she's carrying it is proof, there's no mistake. The tides have changed once again, shifting over to the losing side following words of this prestigious elder. Originally, a lot of the attendees were feeling sorry for Bai Yan and her son, but now, it's simply shocks at the incredible news. Miss Ying, the woman came on behalf of the Holy Land. Understanding the unwillingness in Yi Ying's eye, the senior hurried to persuade the girl by lowering his voice. If it becomes known that we expelled someone like that, and the Lord learns of this, your granduncle would surely be outraged. Biting that lip, the shuddering girl didn't answer, and continued to hold her ground. But the fact that the Holy Land would send her alone, and without any masters to escort, is proof that she's merely a person of no importance. Perhaps this is the Holy Land's way of showing respect to us, since they've repeatedly rejected the invite before. So her background and identity couldn't possibly be more noble than yours. The last sentence, there was what Ying wanted to hear the most. One was the most insignificant of existent, while the other was the distant relative of the medicine sect. It's obvious which one would be more noble in terms of status quo at the end of the day. Humph, just you wait. I will return this favor one day. The wretched girl vows inwardly, swearing she would get revenge. Miss Bai, squeezing her feministic fingers into a crunching ball, Ying forces a rigid smile as she made a deep bow. It was my fault in being inconsiderate and not noticing your identity as the Holy Land's disciple. With sincere hope, I implore you to stay following my apology. Bullying someone who doesn't know how. 1. responding with a faint turn of her head. What a shame, I still want to leave. Bai Yin never had any interest in this alchemy convention to begin with. If not for her three Shifa's sake and demanding attitude to attend, the woman here would have just ignored it completely. But not everyone's going to take this toying lightly. Showing a grim face, the elder in charge immediately lashed out. You, Miss Ying, have already lowered herself into apologizing. Is this how the disciples of the Holy Land do things? When it reached the last part of that sentence, CEO Wang obviously said it with intense force, losing all forms of his majestic temperament for being an elder. You! CEO Wang's expression shifted from red to green at the play of words. Indeed, she only said to beg and nothing about promising to stay. Mother! Just as Bai Yan's about to leave for real, Bai Xiachen suddenly tugged at her sleeve, his eyes flickering with light. I want you to see you win the championship for this convention though. It wasn't easy for him to plan out the good show. To leave like this without doing anything would of course cause some reluctance within the baby boy. At the very least, not until they destroy Yi Ying's reputation first. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Son, you want the crown for this contest? Surprised by the demand, she looks down to be confronted by a pair of foxy eyes. All right, mother will take it for you. As long as it's my son who wants it, then I will bring it to him. When Ru, who was still by their side, had become speechless over this full turnaround. Yen Yen, is it good to be so doting of Xiachen like this? What happened to leaving? But then again, I really want to be Yin Yan's child as well now. What do I do? Thank you, mother. Blooming a brilliant smile, Bai Xiachen's dazzling glow could overshadow even the darkest night in the woman's eye right now. But cuteness aside, Elder CEO Wang was more concerned with the fact that the pair would stay. Relaxing his facial muscles, he sneers in contempt. Miss Bai, I suggest you think more clearly. The crown for this competition isn't something you can get just by saying so. Smirking at that advice, Bai Yin first confronts the senior's eye, then finally fell upon Yi Ying's body. Whether or not Bai Zhanping is willing to accept you as his goddaughter is still undecided. Aren't you afraid he would hear of you spreading rumors around without his permission? The implication of that was she didn't want to be the lady of the medicine sect. Rather, it's due to her uncle's respect for her grandmother that brought on this outcome. In that case, who else could question her position? Miss Ying, hold your words with her lest she defiles your prestigious status. It's just that CEO Wang's didn't have the nerve to say the last bit upon making contact with the woman's gaze. Her temper is so big, she might just turn around and leave if I annoy her. But even if he didn't say it, there's no need. Everyone present could easily understand his meaning. Bullying someone who doesn't know how to. Indeed, as one of the three major forces out there, one woman was the lady of the medicine sect, while the other remains a small little disciple. In terms of importance, it's obvious which weighs more at the end. A humph. Coughing like he's clearing his throat, CEO Wang continues like he's not responsible for that downgrading comment. I won't bother explaining the extra stuff so everyone can just head on inside. The accommodations have already been prepared ahead of time. Boom. The attendees were exploding with excitement at this moment. Even the medicine sect is having trouble creating some of these recipes? Holy hell, what sort of recipes are they? Of course, some of these Dan pill recipes are relatively simple and shouldn't pose a problem for many of you. Raising a faint grin, CEO Wang opens his arms wide into a welcoming posture. In 3 days' time, whoever can discern the most recipes will be the winner of this competition. I wish you all luck. The reason why the medicine sect could remain so powerful all these years was due to the fact that they are in control of special place, where it would spill out different unknown recipes during the year. As for this convention, it's merely a pinky's worth of insight to what they truly hold. No matter how generous they are, these people aren't going to bring out their true treasures. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Elder CEO Wang. Please allow me to take it from here for the arrangements. All smiles in her face, Ying then shoots a wink at her follower. Understanding the meaning behind that, the one known as Yi Ling swiftly began to move, leading the attendees to their arranged rooms. CEO Wang naturally knew what the girl intended to do, but he didn't move. Showing an uninterested face, the elder agreed with Yi Ying's idea of tempering the arrogant woman's attitude. Just that he seems to have dismissed the fact that the woman they are targeting was Bai Yan and not anyone else. Without surprise, the reaction was a direct turnaround as soon as it became apparent what sort of living arrangements were store. Now this was troubling. In truth, Yi Ying only wanted her follower to arrange the worst rooms for Bai Yan and her companions. Who could have guessed the dumb old fart that's known as Yi Ling would try to push a shack that's meant for the firewood instead? Apparently the idiocy running through the first brother also runs through the younger one here as well. Understanding he's messed up big time upon seeing how easily Bai Yan was turning away, Yi Ling wanted to scream out at the woman to make her stop. However, he still hasn't forgotten the fact that the opposition was the disciple of the Holy Land. Suppressing his anger. "Miss Bai, our medicine sect don't have any extra rooms left. Why don't you just stay in the shack for now? It won't do any harm anyways." Not budging an inch, Bai Yan's attitude was very determined and walked straight past the senior that's trying to block her path. Now he could no longer keep up the facade. Falling into a urgent panic, Yi Ling's only recourse was to get on his knee. "Miss Bai, please don't leave. I am wrong. I am wrong. I will arrange the proper accommodations for you this time." It wasn't easy for Elder CEO Wang and her ladyship to keep this woman from leaving. "If I botche this and ruin everything, I would become the greatest sinner of the medicine sect. And the sect leader, his lordship, would definitely kill me." But that not only didn't work, it only brought on a wave of cold laughter from Bai Yan. From start to end, she had never once looked at the bumbling old fool. Regret? It's too late to make regrets now. Before long, the ruckus happening on this end had reached CEO Wang's ear, who quickly became outraged at the news. Bullying someone? Who doesn't know how? 3. At first his thoughts did coincide with Yi Ying's, and intended to leave the worst room they had for Bai Yan and her companions. However, worse was worst. That's nowhere close to being a shack for the firewood. Wouldn't that be the same as embarrassing the medicine sect if words got out? What's more, CEO Wang's frustration had long been brewing within his stomach, due to Bai Yan's repeated vexing. Now that Yi Ling was dumb enough to tap into that rage, it's obvious the consequences would be dire. Evident by how ruthless and hard he was whipping that stick at the one responsible for this mess. Seeing how it's about time to intervene, lest someone actually dies, Bai Yan finally steps in. However, her sneer remains the same despite her soft-heartedness. "Want me to stay? That's possible. I believe Yi Ying's room is not bad. If she is willing to move out and let me take it, then I will agree to stay. Oh yes, by the way, the ingredients that I'm going to be using is not bad. I want 100 portions of every kind sent to my room." "Miss Bai, you are asking for too much. You don't agree? Then that's fine as well." Shrugging her shoulder like she didn't care. "Son, let's go back to the Holy Land. When your grandchiefess ask about this, then we can tell them we were driven out of the medicine sect by Yi Ying, the young lady of the medicine sect." That immediately caused a twitch in CEO Wang's face. Damn this woman, using the Holy Land to threaten me again. As resentful as he was, the elder really couldn't afford to let her return like this. "Fine, I accept your demand." By this point his eyes were burning with fire, as if he wants to tear Yi Ling apart. If not for this idiot, then this woman wouldn't have had the chance to speak. Bai Yan didn't mind the glares shooting her way. Rather, she's quite relishing in the attention. And as if her demands weren't enough, that sly smile of hers only emphasized the villainous nature that's in her bones. Visit my site on Patranslation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. And don't forget to arrange Yi Ying's room for me. Oh, forget it. I will go myself and do it instead. Just tell me the way. Also, I don't like sharing my place of rest with strangers. Aside from my people, I will not allow anyone else to trespass. This nearly made the elder explode. If not for CEO Wang's people rushing over to hold him back, then who knows what sort of act the old fellow would have done. Is this still a guest coming to attend the alchemy convention? My God, she's acting more like the young lady around here instead of Yi Ying. It's not that Elder CEO Wang was afraid of Bai Yin as a person. Rather, it's her background that's keeping him from acting. No matter how small of a disciple she was, the woman still represented the Holy Land here today. Son, although her room is not very good compared to our home in the Holy Land, but it's only for 3 days. Once it's over then we can go home, so bear with it for now. Transforming from her cold indifference, Bai Yan's attitude could only be called brilliant and warm once speaking to her boy. Nodding like a sensible child, Bai Xiachen readily agrees. I don't mind, mother. As long as I'm living with you, then any room will do. Talk about being candid. Because of the pair's downgrading words, CEO Wang's face first shifted from green, then blue, then finally into a purple shade at the insult. She really dared to say that. How can Yi Ying's room be worse than the residence of a mere disciple from the Holy Land? If you're going to brag, then at least listen to yourself first. Thank goodness such people aren't part of the medicine sect, otherwise, who knows how much misfortune would befall everyone here. Bullying someone? Who doesn't know how? 4. Oh, thank goodness that nightmare is finally gone. One of the members of the medicine sect heaves a breather, relieved that Bai Yan's out of sight. Which part of her is gone, you idiot? CEO Wang reprimands the disciple with a grunt. That woman is still staying here for another 3 days. Who knows what could happen in this time frame? That instantly causes the individual to go ghastly white. His expression right now was no different from someone confronted with the end of the world. At this moment within the exquisite room, a young maiden in a succulent dress was currently sitting on a table and sipping tea. How come Yi Ling isn't back yet? But just as the maid-servant was about to answer that question, the door to her room was suddenly smashed open, and in came the stunning figure. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Who allowed you to come here? Slamming the table, she immediately jerks up from her seat and roars out. In return, Bai Yin only sneered. Throw her things out, and change the quilt sheets for me. You dare? This bitch wants to steal my room? Who does she think she is? Yi Ying's face was livid as she eyed Bai Yin, and the disciple leading the way. Who allowed you to bring her? The disciple faltered at the interrogation, murmuring and too afraid to meet the woman's eye. Thankfully, Bai Yin didn't intend to leave the matter alone, and stepped in instead. CEO Wang has already given me your room. Now pack up your things and get out. The response was a nervous nod, which the person quickly explained about everything that's occurred thus far. As a result of this, Yi Ying's expression only grew increasingly ugly, as she gripped her fingers into a tight-knit ball. Damn that Yi Ling, this useless garbage. Not only did he screw up the simple task, he also enraged Elder CEO Wang. Who doesn't know that CEO Wang's most passionate about the medicine sect? If they really made this woman leave, then it's the same as insulting the Holy Land. And if that happens, would the Holy Land let the matter rest? Obviously not. That means the one to suffer has to be me. Thinking of this, Yi Ying's chest started to heave up and down, indicating how much of a grievance this turn of event was for her. A fate is one's own doing, and the world will know of this. What you did to me today, I will return it all one day. Don't even think about begging me when that moment comes. I am Bai Zhangping's distant niece, and she? If not for the alchemy convention, this blasted woman would have died 1,000 times over. I am returning the sentence right back at you. Cold in her smile, Bai Yin eyes the girl like she's seeing a fool. However, even if you begged me on the floor by then, I still won't let you go. If you dare to scheme against me, then you better be ready to pay the price. Humph! Huffing a snort, Yi Ying immediately waltzed out of the room like a high-standing peacock. However, her pride only lasted right up to the doorway, and out of sight, where nothing but grievance remains on that face. Miss, what should we do now? Asked the maid that's with the girl. Cold in her eyes. We're leaving. I refuse to believe my granduncle would turn a blind eye to this, after I'm insulted to such a degree. She originally wanted to go call on her grandmother to help, but that idea quickly got squashed after recalling how useless old Madame Yi was at her core. Acting all around for Uncle M.O. Following the disappearance of his friend's fleeting back, Bai Xiachen then shifts his gaze back over to the teen. I really like you. Do you like me as well? That face couldn't be any more friendly and innocent as he spoke. Initially, Emily Shang was rather stunned by the boy's proactive initiative. Nevertheless, he composes himself to answer. Of course. Do you really like me as well, Xiachen? Aha, I really do. Giving an earnest nod as confirmation. I've always wanted another uncle. Why don't Uncle Mo become my real uncle? Looking at the big, watery eyes of the little steam bun, Emily Shang's brain didn't even need to think, and nodded without forethought. Yes, I will be your uncle. Uncle, I like you so very much. Gleefully brilliant in that face, Bai Xiachen readily jumps into the teen's embrace. However, that glee quickly changed into a scheming fox once out of sight. If Uncle Mo becomes my uncle, then he would become Mother's younger brother. That means in the future, he won't be able to threaten Batty Father's position. What's more, we will then be another step closer to going into the demon realm. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Oh crap. As if suddenly recalling something important, the teen exclaims out of nowhere. Uncle, are you regretting it? Bai Xiachen mutters pitifully, his eyes showing grievance. No, it's not. I seem to have forgotten about Piggy. Not far from the main aisle, a certain pink piggy was currently trying hard to gain the attention of the public by crying and wiping those tears with a handkerchief. Sadly for him though, the surrounding crowds doesn't seem to be all that interested and soon dispersed. Huh, where is the people? Why are they all gone? Did I not perform up to standard? Hey, don't leave. Oh wait, where is Master? All sluggish in his gaze, Piggy had to take a good minute to come to terms with the truth. He's been abandoned. At the same time over at Emily Shang's end, the teen was showing an annoyed yet apologetic face. Xiachen, wait here for me, okay? Don't run around. I will first go find Piggy and come back. Damn it, I actually forgot something as important as this. Piggy is so timid, he must be so scared right now. Okay. Hurrying a nod with that little head. Don't worry about me, uncle. I can wait here while you go look for Piggy. You are so good, Xiachen, I'm going now. Giving the boy a rub on the head, Emily Shang then dashed towards the direction in which he came. Now alone since both of his companions are gone, Bai Xiachen could only kick the nearby rocks around due to how bored he was. You are Xiachen. Just then, an ecstatic voice suddenly came from behind. Grandpa jumping? Blinking his eyes in surprise, the little steam bun didn't expect to see this familiar person here at this time. Regarding Bai Zhampeng, the boy did have a good impression of the handsome man, due to him staying at their home during the treatment. But now, thanks to the influence of Yi Ying's distasteful deeds during the past few days, Bai Xiachen's fondness had dipped to a new low. Grandfather Zhampeng, I should go find mother now, so bye-bye. In the heart of the boy, no one could be more important than Bai Yan. Therefore, he holds no remorse for humiliating Yi Ying. Just that it meant he would be in a dilemma when facing this man. The imminent start of the convention one. Xiachen, you don't want to see me? Hurt to the point where his heart aches terribly, Bai Zhamping asks with sadness in his voice. No, it's not like that, the boy hurries to reply after seeing the man's reaction. I also like Grandpa Zhamping a lot. Then why do you want to leave as soon as you saw me? Not answering for the longest time, Bai Xiachen took a good minute before he could make up his mind. Grandpa Zhampeng, I won't leave, don't worry. Now that was all the man needed to hear. Smiling all over, this young lord of the medicine sect only wanted to grab this little steam bun and give him the biggest hug of all times. In fact, if he could kidnap the boy and keep him here forever, then it would be even better knowing he's his grandnephew. Xiachen, your mother, is she also here as well? Bai Zhamping hurries to ask. Blinking his eyes at the inquiry, Bai Xiachen faintly nods in confirmation. Mother is at the main avenue. Do you want to meet her? It's absolutely true, the man here wanted to meet his niece before knowing she's here. But now that he's confronting with the truth, it appears Bai Zhamping was starting to get the cold feet instead. What would she do if I tell her right away about our relationship? Maybe she would take it as me trying to use her or something bad. No, I can't let the small little bit of good feelings I built in her eyes to be tarnished over something mediocre like impatience. I must come up with a way to prove our identity with father first. Also, it will also avoid those other people within the medicine sect from saying those irresponsible remarks. The man's head churned with ideas, his eyes nervous and unsure when meeting the baby boy's eye. Xiachen, I like to ask you a question. What if your mother suddenly discovers she has another grandfather? Would she accept him? Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Well, that's of course if this grandfather likes me a lot. Blinking his big innocent eyes, Bai Xiachen tilts his head like he's a tad confused by the strange question. Mother would surely like him as well if that's the case. Bai Zhangping became rather speechless over this answer. It's too straightforward. Xiachen, your great-grandfather would surely like you, just that your mother If he likes me then that's all good, there's no problem then. However, the premise must be that he's my great-grandfather. Biting his thumb, the boy appears puzzled now. Where is my great-grandfather? Do you know where he is? I know mother would want to find out where my grandmother is. I have a way. Bai Zhangping's eye flashed with glee. As long as Xiachen you help me get a close intimate object from your mother, even a strand of hair will do, then I can do that. Will you help Grandpa Zhangping in the task? Even if the man himself was already sure of Bai Yan's identity to a certain degree, but merely recognizing the girl back into the family wouldn't be enough. His main objective lies in gifting the entire medicine sect to the girl. In that case, he must stuff up the mouths of those old-timers first using a special method. Blood mixing won't prove anything, he knows that much. Really? The boy's eye lit up as well. Then Grandpa Zhangping can help find my mother's relative? I can only give it a try. In addition, this is a secret between us. Don't tell your mother first. Rubbing that little head, the man's expression shined with gentle warmth. Okay. Giving a serious nod, Bai Xiachen then became troubled while he bit his lip. But Grandpa Zhangping, would you let's say if your daughter was bullied by someone, would you hate those people? Earth-shattering 3333. Not long later, the guard soon returned with another person to stand in front of Bai Changfeng's presence. Tell me, is there anyone who came to our medicine sect carrying the invitation slip from the Luoho kingdom? Taking a sip from his teacup, the old senior casually asks despite his heart tensing up into a knot. Reporting to sect leader, there is indeed a person who came with thy item. Try as he might in being respectful, the man's voice nevertheless carried a pang of agitation when speaking. It couldn't be helped. The poor person was nothing more than an individual in charge of watching the entrance gates. The very fact that he could gain an audience with the Lord was a gift in of itself. Snapped. Is it a girl coming from there? Is she beautiful? Where is she? Take me to see her. All excited in his face, the senior jerks up from the chair. Hearing this dumbstruck burst of demand from their lord, the individuals present were all frozen over, their faces disbelieving like realities playing with their ears. It can't be. The lord is going through a second spring, because the madam is gone for so long? But no matter what, going after a young maiden not even half his age is too much. Sect leader. Gulping hard, the gatekeeper got even more nervous. But the one who came isn't a girl, it's a boy. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Something definitely cracked within the old fella's heart. Slouching back down to his chair, Bai Changfeng's eyes were filled with nothing but decadence and frustration. It's actually not her. She should have received the invitation from Zhangping. Why did she not come to the medicine sect? Is it because she hates me? At the moment, countless unnecessary thoughts were running through this grandfather's head, making him even more nervous and unsettling to everyone nearby. But she shouldn't have known about Zhangping's background, nor their relationship. So why? SEC sect leader. Shaking right down to his legs upon seeing the ever-increasingly dark face on the old man, the poor gatekeeper could barely keep his words clear. What else? With eyes still ready to kill, Bai Changfeng's tone sounded unnervingly cold. That is, Miss Yi Ying is seeking an audience outside. Tell her to go. But the miss she, bang, slamming his hand against the desk in fuming rage. Who are you calling the miss? My medicine sect have no such miss in my household. Tell her to scram. If not, then I will toss her out myself. Literally popping their eyes, the gatekeeper and the rest didn't understand what's going on. According to their memory, the Lord's attitude towards the Yi family has never been this poor before. What are you still standing there for? Hurry and get out. Or do you want me to kick you out instead? Not giving the poor people a chance to run, Bai Changfeng has already flown out and sent multiple kicks at these poor servants, but to send them flying. He's been enduring old Madame Ye's outrageous demands over the years, due to the bond with his late wife. But now that he's decided not to endure anymore, he has no reason to keep up a good face anymore. Besides, his patience was already wearing thin due to Bai Yin not appearing before him. The fact that these annoying people are coming to bother him at such a time meant it's only natural they face a good chunk of that fury. Miss Ying, don't wait anymore. The Lord isn't going to see you. After being kicked out with the gatekeeper, the guard immediately went before the girl to pass on this message. Just that, instead of being respectful like before, his voice now carried sarcasm and contempt. Sure enough, Yi Ying's complexion instantly got paler. Did you not tell him I've been humiliated? If others humiliate me, then it's the same as humiliating the medicine sect. Does my granduncle not care? Earth-shattering 334. The guard sneered. What does shaming you have to do with our medicine sect? Do you really take yourself as the lady here? Hurry up and get out of here. As a member of the medicine sect, these guards are of course good at reading the changing tide. Therefore, it's only normal their attitude wouldn't be good once Bai Changfeng revealed his negative opinion of the Yi family. How dare you talk to me like that? Yi Ying's pretty face finally started to crumble, revealing her twisted side that she's been hiding all along. How dare this small fry talk to me like this, argh? And why wouldn't I dare? Hurry and go. Otherwise I will throw you out myself. The Lord doesn't want to see you, so hurry and get scarce. Waving his hand impatiently, the guard acts like he's swatting a fly, giving one final cold glare at the person. She then waltzes away where the viciousness in her eyes came beaming out. The alchemy convention has already commenced. Therefore, none of the contestants were idling around once the recipes were dispersed by the officials. And of course, Ying wouldn't leave the target of her frustration alone either. She's been having her people spy on the group from afar the entire way. When it became known that Bai Yin had done nothing but sightseeing with her son the entire time, Yi Ying's lip just couldn't resist making a scornful grin. And here I thought the Holy Land would send someone capable over. Turns out it's nothing but a useless individual who doesn't even know anything about alchemy. Miss, do we still need to keep an eye on that woman then? One of the guards in service to the Yi family asks. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. There's no need anymore. She couldn't possibly blow up any wind at the rate she's going. Oh right, what about my useless brother? How is he doing lately? Young master, aside from eating, drinking and playing, she is otherwise in the backyard with those women. Flushing red from embarrassment, the guard awkwardly explains. Showing a sarcastic smirk. He is just as useless. Fortunately, this baggage still holds some value. Whatever, just go down for now. Also keep your eyes out for my uncle. I want to know if he does anything in this time frame. Yes, milady. Bowing his head, the guard retires to leave the girl alone. Meanwhile, at the same time over at the lower segment of the mountain, two of the gatekeepers were busying chatting with each other like usual. They were bored, so alcohol was their only means of entertainment. Well, that was until they noticed the three beautiful figures quickly walking over to their location. But before the man could further show off his mighty words, one of the girls in a yellow dress have already beaten him to the punch by coming forward. Open your eyes and take a good look at what this is. Dangling the tiny token around, the girl acts all haughty like she owns the place. You are. Initially the gatekeeper was still frowning at the strange demand. It's not the usual way people behave in their presence. But he soon discovered why. Humph. The yellow dress girl huffs a grunt and cocks her head high. Can we enter now? Please, please. Shaking all over like he couldn't keep his composure, the gatekeeper and his companion immediately opened up a path. Xiaoyan cousin, Xiaowan demon princess. Let's go. Chu Yi's expression appears to be a little dejected as she strode past the entrance. I haven't seen Bai Yin for so long. I wonder if she's taken on other favorite sisters lately. I bet she's already forgotten about us, because we haven't seen her. Though the remark from the girl was nothing but a casual one with no extra meaning, it did cause Di Xiaowan's heart to crack at the thought. Sister-in-law has other favorite sisters? No, I can't let that happen. She can't like other sisters. War God White Tiger 1. She liking other sisters is the trivial part, Lan Xiaoyan cousin seriously ponders the idea. What's worrying me is cousin being picked up by another man who's too blind to know their place. They wouldn't dare. Di Xiaowan, demon princess, roars, her beautiful face a flushing red. I will rip them apart if they got the nerve to steal her away. Want to steal my sister-in-law? They must be bored of living. Even if I don't tear them apart, my old bro would do it instead. Zheng Er, what is that token just now? Shouldn't we have examined her some more? What if she's out to do evil? Wouldn't the Lord be angry at us for not doing our jobs? The other companion didn't get a good look, so his curiosity was at a real high. Hence the reason for so much questions. The girl just now is the witch from the Holy Land. What? The companion became so shocked that he literally jumped in fright. The princess of the Holy Land? What is she doing here for? We need to report this to the Lord this instant. Otherwise we would be in big trouble. Which was the nickname everyone gave to Chu Yi, due to her devastating nature to anywhere she visits. That just goes to show the notoriety of her name. The other gatekeeper appears troubled. I was just called by the sect leader earlier. He asked me a load of questions while I was there, and stated that no matter what occurs, he's not to be disturbed. I'm not so sure it's a good idea to go against his will. Visit my site on Patranslation, if you wish to read ahead of public releases, when the man spoke of his experience in meeting by Chang Feng. The man's face definitely grew prouder, like he didn't get kicked out or something. Sure enough, his companion immediately showed an envious look. In that case, I will go report this to the rest of the elders. We need to keep the ingredient vault and library safe from the witch's hand. It's no secret that a few years ago Chu Yi had burned the great treasury vault of the 3 chief elders in the Holy Land. Not only did the precious ingredients inside get burned to a crisp, most of the valuable books were also lost as well. Therefore, the first reaction these people had was to secure their valuables in case of the same misfortune happening to themselves. Yes, I go right away. The gatekeeper urgently ran off with sweat still pouring out of his forehead. Inside the main quarters of the medicine sect, Lan Xiaoyan cousin was curiously eyeing the bustling market before her eyes. So this is the legendary medicine sect? Aside from the air being thicker with life energy, it's not much different from the outside world, is it? Of course, Xiaoyan cousin, there is nothing fun about this place. Just wait until you come to my home. I will show you what it really means to be a sacred ground for cultivation. Di Xiaowan demon princess scoffs off her friend's word like it's only normal. How can this place compare to the demon realm? I bet the people here couldn't even ascend into the celestial rank of their cultivation. Oh, that's right. Turning her attention over to the cheeky girl, Lan Xiaoyan sounded curious. Xiaowan, you still haven't told us about your home yet. Where is it exactly? War God White Tiger 2. Well, that is. Caressing her own chin, Di Xiaowan got all excited. The place is a real paradise. There are flowers scattered across the mountain as far as the eye can see. And the keeper of the demon mountain is called Suzaku. She's the vermilion bird. Oh yes, I'm not gloating or anything. But not anyone can go there, you know. You have to be like me, who is very close with her, to get permission. For anyone that doesn't know what the vermilion bird is, it's very similar to the phoenix, but its tail feathers are a rainbow color. Think of something like Ho-Oh from Pokemon for a reference. Upon hearing this, Lan Xiaoyan was full of yearning in her eyes, And even Chu Yi's opinion has changed about this Dumbaklutz. Vermilion bird? Isn't that one of the legendary sacred beasts of the celestial realm? Does this powerful creature really exist? What celestial realm? Such descriptions are nothing but shameless propaganda made by those hypocrites. Suzaku is a vermilion bird, but she's one of the 4 great sacred beasts in charge of protecting the demon realm, not a guardian of the celestial realm. Pulling a long face, Di Xiaowan's attitude about the Celestials and their twisted stories were all very negative. Just the only one remaining now is Suzaku. Somewhat dejected at this point. Aside from that little pet beside sister-in-law, is the descendant of White Tiger. The remaining 2 is no longer around. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. There are 4 sacred beasts in total: Vermilion Bird, White Tiger, Azure Dragon and Black Turtle. These 4 acted as the guardians of the demon realm thousands of years ago. But nowadays, aside from Suzaku who remains alive from that period, the other was Little Rice who descended from the original White Tiger. At the moment, the 3 girls were exchanging differing glances with each other, but most were directed at the demon princess. Xiaowan, Lan Xiaoyan bit her lip. No matter what your identity is, we will always be friends. Through the sweet Dumbaklut's carelessness, both girls are now able to discern she's not average. Then by connecting Bai Xiaoqin's ability to summon various demon beasts at will, the answer became all too easy to guess. Humph. Bai Xiaoqin is my nephew anyways, and Bai Yin is my sister-in-law. If these 2 dares to leave me behind, then I can happily keep them both to myself. You dare? Chu Yi got angry. Di Xiaowan, I'm telling you now, you won't get such an opportunity. Bai Yin may not have accepted my brother, but she will always be my sister. I won't let you have her all to yourself. Di Xiaowan also picked up her voice. What, you want to pick a fight then? Let's fight then. You think I'm afraid of you? Pulling her sleeve up, Chu Yi roars out at her friend. As usual, it always devolves into a brawl whenever they are not in agreement. So in situations like these where nothing good could come of it, Lan Xiaoyan was the one who usually steps in to force the pair apart. Maybe by this point Bai Yin already has another favorite sister. In times like this, we should be working together to fend off external threats. Weak against the 2 powerful glares coming her way, the level-headed girl timidly states her point, and won the 2 powerhouse over. War God White Tiger 3, Xiaoyan cousin. Is right, we need to be consistent in facing the outsiders, so that sister-in-law doesn't get stolen away, the demon princess notes. That's right, we should go now. I know where Bai Yin is right now, so let's find her right away. Just that. Perhaps it's Lan Xiaoyan's own misconception or what, but whenever a member of the medicine sect learns of this girl's identity, they would all flee at the name in fear instead of awe and reverence, like most would often do when confronted with someone of such background. It can't be. Did she do something so indecent that everyone's running away from her? Like stealing a virgin maiden's chastity? Or doing something indecently sadistic to a man? Otherwise, why would the male flee in her presence, and the female tremble in fear as soon as they hear her name? Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases at the moment. Chu Yi was so clueless to the changing opinions of her 2 friends, and everyone else's for that matter, that she could hardly see the issue. Back over in a certain room, Bai Yin was currently having a peaceful sleep as the sun's ray illuminated her fine delicate skin. But she's not alone though. Di Song was also present there sitting by her bed. The man's enjoying the picturesque scene like he couldn't get enough of it. But then, from within the same bed, a certain baby white tiger just had to roll around to land his dirty little paws onto the sleeping woman's breast. Without surprise, the man's complexion instantly went dark at the sight. Not saying a word, he immediately makes a grab for the insufferable cat's tail, and shook the rascal awake. Hoo-hoo, I didn't do anything. Why is he glaring at me like that? Not giving any attention to the little thing, Di Song stoutly dragged his captive out the door, and tossed him to the ground. How many years have you been with her? Though the man's voice was as low as a whisper, it still rocked Little Rice's ear till it's a rolling drum. 5 years. 5 years? Why didn't you contract with her? The man lightly furrows his brow in light of the lack of emotion. It's because mistress won't let me. Crying in grievance. It's not like I didn't want to, but mistress is worried I would die as well if she passes away. If contracted, the familiar themselves would also perish if the master passes away. That's one of the drawbacks of such a ritual. You must contract with her. The man's tone sounded unquestionably determined. Why? Staring up at the man in confusion, Little Rice just didn't understand why he's so afraid of the person to the point where he's shivering all over. Last night state teacher sent me a letter. He said you must contract with her. Raising a grin, Deetsong's cool tone demand absolute obedience. As for how you would do it, figure it out yourself. When I return I want to see results. King, Little Master's been wanting to know about what you've been doing lately. He didn't ask because he didn't know how, so tell him I've been making preparations for their entry into the demon realm. So, I won't be able to accompany them during this period. Squinting his eyes then, Deetsong releases a cold glint of threatening intent. And if anyone dares to make trouble for them, you can directly eliminate them in my stead. War God White Tiger 4. My son need not be soft-hearted, nor does his pet. If anyone dares to provoke him, then destroying the foolish idiot is all he needs to do. I will tell Little Master that then. With his head lowered still, Little Rice continues to shiver uncontrollably. I didn't say anything nor did I do anything yet. Why is everyone so afraid of me? I don't care either way. But if Yin Yin were to see this, then she might mistake it as me picking on this little white tiger. That won't do at all. Little Rice instantly made a 360. From a shivering look, his face now carried a cuddly smile. How could you be terrifying, King? That must be your illusion. But if you could hold back your suffocating aura, then that would be great. Really? How does Mistress and Little Master endure being in front of King's presence? I could barely breath while standing here, yet they could talk so freely like it's nothing. Very well. Loosening that furrowing brow of his, Deetsong has now decided to change his ways. At the very least, while in front of those who his wife cares for anyways. If I don't, then Yin Yin will definitely be angry with me. Popping his tigerly eyes at the quick answer, Little Rice had trouble believing reality. King agreed that easily. Why didn't I speak out at the beginning then? In that short moment where the baby tiger was still lost in his own thoughts, Deetsong's presence have already disappeared from sight following a strong gust of wind. Coming back into the room minutes later, Little Rice remains uncertain whether or not he should carry out the order as told. But then when Deetsong's face came flying out from his mind again in the next moment, any hesitation instantly leaves him. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Mistress, I'm sorry, but it's King who told me to ignore your will. Giving off a glint of guilt in his eyes, Little Rice slowly crawled up to Bai Yan's side. I must do this in secret, otherwise Mistress would definitely refuse if she finds out. Due to being deep in slumber from her nap, Bai Yan was completely clueless to what's about to happen. Instead, all she felt was a strange influx of energy seeping into her head and prying open a gate to her memories. The sky has been stained red with blood, and the battlefield rocking with agonizing screams. Queen, I will handle these people while you go find King. Boom. Not even the rivers of time could deter these words from reaching into Bai Yan's heart. It's painful to the point where it's piercing to the heart. No, don't. She cries out without knowing why. Then as her legs moved forward under the guidance of a mysterious force, another attack has come from above. Numerous arrows smashed down, piercing every part of the teen's body in doing so. He protected me just now. A simple dodge would have sufficed, yet he stayed to protect me. And overcome with grief, Bai Yan didn't know why her memories were playing such pictures. It's so painful that she wanted to cry and scream in agony. Never give up, ha ha ha. Not only did the teen not topple over from the countless wounds to his body, the arrogance in his voice only grew bigger and prouder, like an unyielding blade. Do you people think this will defeat me? Shame I couldn't protect the queen. Shame I haven't gotten revenge for my brothers the Azure Dragon and Black Turtle. In one smooth motion, the unyielding teen had ripped one of the blades out from his body. He did not flinch, and he did not scream. The only thing he did was to point the blade in his hand at the sky where thousands converged, all willing and ready to slice him down in the name of justice. Enough! Covering her lips with those trembling fingers, Bai Yan's tears came pouring down of her eye sockets like a waterfall. She wanted to do something, she really did. But the state she's in, the body she's in control of, refuses to move. So she watched from the floor while the teen did his all to protect her. First it was the dismembering of the boy's arm, then the direct slash across the chest, and the desperate struggle of one against thousands. Even so, the teen never wavered, and he continued to stand. Everyone could tell by now the boy was dead. Hollow eye sockets, rigid movements. That's the sign of an individual burning away their soul for power. And the price? Once fully consumed, the snowy white teen would forever disappear, never to be reborn again. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. White Tiger. Crying out, she struggles to climb up from the floor after finally being released at last. There's endless anger on her face right now. But more than that, it's endless suffering that's consuming her very heart. Enough, you have done enough, you can rest now. I swear, if there is an afterlife, I will find all three of you, Azure Dragon and Black Turtle as well. When that time comes, I will use all these people's lives as tribute for what they've done to us all. So stop, do you hear me? Stop this instant. If you don't stop now, then you really will destroy your own soul. That's right. I'm not part of this place. This is nothing but a piece of my own memory. But then, perhaps the teen did hear her plea, because in the next second from those hollow and empty eyes came a flickering white light. Bai Yan wasn't sure what's going on, but that rigid movement indicated he could hear her. I'll be fine and we're all going to have an afterlife. If you don't stop now, then you won't be able to protect me in the future. As silly as her words may be when everything around her was nothing but a flashback, she nevertheless cries out like it's happening for real. Sure enough, the sword in the boy's hand fell in that moment, and the determined body crumbled to dust like something's been lifted. Everything came so quickly and disappeared just as quickly. Now nothing remains but darkness in her head. You two are my hapines. Mistress, hurry and wake up. An anxious cry echoes beside Bai Yan's ear. It's unsure when, but by the time she opened her eyes, trickles of tears have already soaked up the pillow underneath herself. As for the scene from that dream, it continues to vividly replay itself like a stinging heartache, refusing to leave her mind. Stupid little rice, you made mother cry. Puffing up his cheeks like a steaming little bun, Bai Xiachen hurries to help wipe those tears away. Mother, don't cry, otherwise I will cry too. Just now, did you make a contract with me? Making a weak nod, little rice meekly answers with guilt in his voice. Mistress, I am wrong. If you want you can hit me, but please forgive me. Then before the fur ball could finish that apology, the woman has already pulled him in for a tight embrace. Those arms were rough and hard, borderline suffocating even. Even so, little Rice didn't dare to move. He could see the pain in his mistress's eyes. Little Rice, her voice shaky still from the dream. I won't let anyone harm you again. If they do, I will tear them apart from limb to limb. Mistress, blinking with confusion in his eyes, the little fur ball clearly didn't understand what's going on. What's going on with Mistress lately? Normally this would be a heartwarming scene. However, Bai Xiachen on the other hand only showed sadness on his cute little face. Will mother not love only me in the future? I'm so sad. Oh, what am I supposed to do? For the longest time, Bai Yin refuses to let go, and even pulled her son into an embrace. Together, all three of them, they cuddled for warmth like one big happy family. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. This undoubtedly delighted the baby boy. From a sorrowful rainy expression, Bai Xiachen was now looking all bright and dandy. In fact, the changes were so fast and apparent that even little Rice had become astounded by the face change. Son, my precious little baby, you are my most important treasure in life. I was just thinking earlier if I were to have a son in my past life, then it would have to be you as well. The boy didn't answer right away. Rather, he inched closer against Bai Yan's chest to take a deep sniff of her bodily aroma. It's as if the very scent could calm his heart. I will always be Mother's most precious son, whether it be this life, the last, and the future. Startled there for a second, Bai Yan honestly didn't think her boy could say something so wonderful at his age. Taking the two up to her face, she gives them both a peck on the forehead, and then closed her eyes. Mother, I can't breath, the little steambun pleads, bringing the woman's focus back to reality. Mother. A little flushed in the face, the baby boy eyes her with worry. Did something happen? Slowly shaking her head, Bai Yan's voice was soft and gentle. It's nothing. I'm just feeling moved at having you two around. She did have a family back in her previous world, but that sort of family was equivalent to not having one. But now, she could truly say happiness has found her. And in order to protect this happiness, she would never allow anyone to harm them. Little Rice, do you know about the existence of the celestial realm? A glint of frosty coldness circulates within Bai Yan's iris. Celestial realm? Blinking those tigerly eyes, the little furball had wanted to answer that question, to only be interrupted by a loud clamoring from the yard outside. The troublemakers are here. Yin Yin is resting now. No one can bother her. This voice was obviously Emily Shang's, and his tone sounded angry when it reached the occupants inside. Slightly furrowing her brow, Bai Yan's attention was quickly caught by the teen's anger. Come. We will go see what's happening outside. Shang, are these people here for me? Leaning her body against the doorframe in a lazy manner, Bai Yan asks without any particular meaning. However, that attitude and appearance took on a different light in the eyes of others with ulterior motive. For the man in green, there's a very power lust in his eyes. I thought my sister was already pretty enough. To think there's such beauty in this world. I want her. I will definitely take her for my own. Making a difficult gulp, the one speaking was Yi Ming. So you are the woman who forcefully occupied my sister's place? For Bai Yan, who was still yawning from waking up not so long ago, she naturally wouldn't miss the dirty look coming her way. And what of it? Ho ho! Yi Ming cackles sinisterly. Do you think you can still stay at the medicine sect after offending my sister? But, if you are willing to serve me, then maybe I will help you. It was precisely at this moment that another had arrived on scene. From the neighboring room, when Ru had just opened his door to hear this outlandish and foolish remark. Therefore, imagine how big his eyes must be popping right now. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Crazy. These people from the medicine sect have really gone mad. Yin Yan's knowledge in alchemy alone is enough to put her above everyone else here. And let's not mention the fact that she's the disciple of the 3 chief elders of the Holy Land. Now this buffoon is demanding she serve him? Where did this bastard get the nerve? Still oblivious to his own mistake, Yi Ming presses forward by proudly cocking his head. My sister Yi Ying is only a woman at her core. That's why my grandmother would be more inclined to side with me. Here, I will give you a deal. So long as you promise to service me, then I will put in a few words for you. What do you say? Slowly narrowing her eyes, Bai Yan's gaze grew dangerous now. Little Rice, look after Xiachen in my stead. Meow. Calling out using the fake feline cry, the baby tiger understood the buffoon was screwed now. Come over here. Flicking her finger in a hooking motion, Bai Yan looked exceptionally seductive in the blasted man's eye. Boom. Without giving anyone the time to react, a ruthless kick has shot up into the man's crucial part, and creating a popping sound in the process. A deafening scream echoes with resounding clarity across the clouds, scattering the birds and animals in the surround terrain. Right now, forget about speaking. Yi Ming's complexion gone from red to green, then from green to purple. In fact, it's almost impossible to imagine what sort of emotions this man must be going through. Slapping them flying. You guys capture this woman for me. Damn it. How dare she kick me in the crotch? I will make her pay for this transgression, and my humiliation. Aside from coursing pain throughout Yi Ming's face, there's also intense hatred and anger. He's not going to let this slide, after having his crotchet kicked so brutishly. What are you people doing? Go grab that woman. Stomping his feet from frustration, Yi Ming didn't care about the alchemy convention, or what identity this woman has. He only cares about hurting the perpetrator. Little Rice, go get me a stool. I want to watch Mother clobber these baddies. Sitting on the ground, Bai Xiachen was currently snacking on a bottle of Dan pills that he pulled from his storage sack. Naturally, this immediately scared the daylights out of Wenru, who was nearby. This spendthrift. Does he not have a clue how much those things are worth? Is he not afraid of choking himself? Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Anti-Xiaowan. It was then the baby boy burst into a gleeful yell, his eyes glowing with excitement. Bai Yan as well has stopped moving, turning her attention to the directed location. The presence of 3 familiar figures promptly came into her eyes. Di Xiaowan, Chu Yi, and Lan Xiaoyan. What are the 3 of them doing here? This left an opening, and one of the thugs didn't miss it. Brandishing the sword in hand, the impudent man rushed her with the blade aiming at the head. But it was futile. As if with eyes behind her back, Bai Yin only needed to raise her hand slightly to release a powerful shockwave at the attacker's face. Next moment, the man had shot straight into the air and out of the yard following that incredible slap. If not for the loud impacting rumble of the earth that came later, the audience might have thought he wouldn't have landed at all. Monster! This woman is a monster! People, where's all my people? Forgetting his stinging pain down beneath, Yi Ming eyes his surrounding that was quickly dwindling in numbers. What happened the first time was happening again and again, until all were slapped away to who knows where. Smirking now, Bai Yan's voice remains as indifferent as ever after her deed. If you want to know where your followers are, then just dig into the earth. I'm sure after you go out there and dig 100 meters, then you will find a couple of their corpses. 100-meter corpses. Yi Ming subconsciously flinched backward like he's facing a demonic monster who's out to take his life. It's Yi Ying who asked me to come find you. This is not my fault. I was only told to come seduce you. She told me you are nothing but an insignificant disciple of the lowest standing. That's why I came. If you like this translation, then please turn off your ad blockers. It really helps. Or if you want to read ahead, try becoming a Patreon backer. The first tier is just $1, so give it a shot. Bullying someone who doesn't know how. 4. Oh, thank goodness that nightmare is finally gone. One of the members of the medicine sect heaves a breather, relieved that Bai Yan's out of sight. Which part of her is gone, you idiot? CEO Wang reprimands the disciple with a grunt. That woman is still staying here for another 3 days. Who knows what could happen in this time frame? That instantly causes the individual to go ghastly white. His expression right now was no different from someone confronted with the end of the world. The same was true of the others as well. When known the target of their nightmare still has to stay for another 3 days, they would immediately show the look of someone getting a painful headache. At this moment within the exquisite room, a young maiden in a succulent dress was currently sitting on a table and sipping tea. How come Yi Ling isn't back yet? But just as the maid servant was about to answer that question, the door to her room was suddenly smashed open, and in came the stunning figure. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Who allowed you to come here? Slamming the table, she immediately jerks up from her seat and roars out. In return, Bai Yin only sneered. Throw her things out and change the quilt sheets for me. You dare? This bitch wants to steal my room? Who does she think she is? Yi Ying's face was livid as she eyed Bai Yin and the disciple leading the way. Who allowed you to bring her? The disciple faltered at the interrogation, murmuring and too afraid to meet the woman's eye. Thankfully, Bai Yin didn't intend to leave the matter alone and stepped in instead. CEO Wang has already given me your room. Now pack up your things and get out. You, sucking in a deep breath, Yi Ying presses down her anger and eyed the disciple some more. Is what she's saying true? The response was a nervous nod, which the person quickly explained about everything that's occurred thus far. As a result of this, Yi Ying's expression only grew increasingly ugly as she gripped her fingers into a tight-knit ball. Damn that Yi Ling, this useless garbage. Not only did he screw up the simple task, he also enraged Elder CEO Wang. Who doesn't know that CEO Wang's most passionate about the medicine sect? If they really made this woman leave, then it's the same as insulting the Holy Land. And if that happens, would the Holy Land let the matter rest? Obviously not. That means the one to suffer has to be me. Thinking of this, Yi Ying's chest started to heave up and down, indicating how much of a grievance this turn of event was for her. A fate is one's own doing, and the world will know of this. What you did to me today, I will return it all one day. Don't even think about begging me when that moment comes. I am Bai Zhangping's distant niece and she. If not for the alchemy convention, this blasted woman would have died 1,000 times over. I am returning the sentence right back at you. Cold in her smile, Bai Yan eyes the girl like she's seeing a fool. However, even if you begged me on the floor by then, I still won't let you go. If you dare to scheme against me, then you better be ready to pay the price. Humph! Huffing a snort, Yi Ying immediately waltzed out of the room like a high-standing peacock. However, her pride only lasted right up to the doorway and out of sight, where nothing but grievance remains on that face. Miss, what should we do now? Asked the maid that's with the girl. Cold in her eyes. We're leaving. I refuse to believe my granduncle would turn a blind eye to this after I'm insulted to such a degree. She originally wanted to go call on her grandmother to help, but that idea quickly got squashed after recalling how useless old Madame Yi was at her core. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.